So, hey guys, welcome to another coaching session. Here I am with Renyu, aka Luxbot, as you can see here. Can you give us a brief introduction of yourself? As a player or like as a, uh, I guess,
Yeah,
person.
okay. Yeah, I'm Ren. I am mostly playing support, but I occasionally play mid lane and bot lane. My shampoo is basically just enchanters and Rakan Nautilus. Yeah.
Okay.
Here you can see the Zeri there. I was autofilled and yeah.
Yeah. How come? Where's the Rakan? Not where is it?
It's
There's.
there. Scroll down a bit.
It's okay.
Uh,
No, it's not in the yeah, not in your top seven. Anyway, so um, why did you? I mean, it seems like from what I'm seeing on like my first glance, like when I opened your OPGG and updated it, it seems like you're doing fine. Like you have good win rates on champions. You have positive win rate. It seems like at any point you'll get into like D1 maybe or so, maybe even Masters. So why did you even sign up to get a coaching session at this point? Normally, kasi just to
uh,
give context, normally um also, are you fine with like English or
yeah,
should
yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So normally, when people get coaching sessions, it's because the most common one is because they're hard stuck, they can't climb. So what is it for you?
Improving micro macro basically. I think my micro macro is pretty poor.
It's not everything. Everything encompasses of like micro and macro, if you put it
Yeah.
that way. Okay. So just improving in general.
Yes, yes.
Okay. But do you have any specific aspect that you think I should address during the session?
Uh, Siguro whenever to roam, I guess. To leave my
Mm,
ADC in solo queue.
okay, okay. Got it. I'll take note of that. And I guess uh I don't think like you have much difficulty, but like if it was what was the struggle for you in terms of like climbing in solo queue? Or like
Uh,
what makes it a bit more difficult than you think it is?
Trusting an AD carry.
Trusting an ADK. That's I think every support main right now that's like either watching it this on YouTube. Can this go on YouTube by the way?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Every support main right now on that's like watching on YouTube or like listener is like, yep, ADCs, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, understandable, relatable. As I play a lot of support as well. Um, cool. Is there anything else that you want to share that's kind of relevant that I need to know in the coaching session?
Uh, Hindi naman. No, no.
Okay, cool. So let's review your OPGG. So where is the game that you sent me? It's a Janna game, right?
It's a Janna game. Scroll down a bit. Yeah, nata.
Ito?
Yung 41-minute game.
Okay. So here it is. So normally what I check here is your runes. Yeah, because like I'll address the itemization in the game. This seems to be pretty standard. Is this something that is in the rune recommender or is it something you made?
It's no, no, no. It's just in OPGG.
Oh, it's like an app.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh, I mean, I
Maybe
yeah.
I should have taken magic resist there instead of armor.
What's the bot lane anyway?
It's
Swain
Swain
Lux.
Locks.
Oh yeah. But it's fine, I guess. I don't think it's that big of a deal to be honest. I mean, you could honestly go any of the three here. You could go HP. Um, but yeah. But you make a point though. Yeah, MR would be pretty decent here. It would mean that you would get harder. I mean, they would have a harder time to kill you. But armor is pretty good because like you can try to auto them and like minions hurt less. Their autos hurt less. But okay, I mean, again, it's not the end of the world. This matchup because of like how the shields work, um, and how long fights play out. Because like it's not like Kaisa's a burst champion. Like she would have to hit a lot. Unlike for example, Lucian, Draven.
Yep, yep.
Um, so I think it ultimately doesn't convert into anything meaningful. I mean, someone who knows more about this matchup could correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think choosing between these three will change how the lane works. Um, and that's my preface on this rune thing is that I'm gonna be straightforward and say that I don't actually know like what's the optimal runes for Janna, but I do know that most people take glacial.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess this is about right. I like that you're taking Font of Life, Revitalize. It's pretty OP on enchanters in general. Um, I don't know if actually yeah, Futures Market seems to be pretty ideal. I
Oh wait, there in that game specifically, biscuits were disabled, so I got Future's
oh
Mark.
well I would disagree on the biscuits anyway. I don't think it was necessary here.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I mean the alternative is that I would explore the idea of going something like because we're talking about solo queue, and the problem with going into it, there's now this like theory or like game knowledge, backing up this idea, but I don't know. I would have to, you know, recommend you to try this out yourself as the Janna player. Again, best Janna player PH. um, maybe you should try something with sorcery plus resolve instead of inspiration, because the problem in solo queue is that a lot of your games, and I'm sure you can agree with this, are almost determined based on how the laning phase goes. Like if this Kaisa gets rooted by Swain Lux like 4 times in the first 6 minutes, the game is practically over. You don't even have to watch how the rest of the game works. You're just gonna get bot gapped, and at the end of the game, you'll just be frustrated about your Kaisa feeding lane and how the enemy Swain is so fed no one can kill him. And yeah, that's how most of the story goes. So
Yeah.
I think I think in lane, Glacial feels so weak. I feel like this starts to become powerful, or at least becoming relevant in mid to late, where there's lots of team fights, and so the frozen zones actually make sense. You have a lot of sticking power for like melees, for example, because they're all getting slowed. They can get autoed forever. At the same time, the damage reduction, right? It's just gonna help them stay alive. But I think in solo queue for something like going airy, what's a sorcery page look like?
Area
Yes,
comment.
something like no. I don't like Comet because the only way you land Comet, I think, is if you like. I'm not sure.
Hit your tornado.
Yeah, hit your tornado, yeah. But like you might poke with W and stuff, which is like the basic Janna trade. It's like auto W. Um, so maybe you can go like Airy, Mana Flow, like Absolute Focus, Gathering Storm, or something like that, or even Scorch in some matchups. Um, but Gathering Storm is good for enchanters like Janna specifically. They really love the AP. So like Absolute Focus and Mother and Gathering Storm, sorry. Um just gives you a lot of like AP from runes itself, not even from items. And supports already get a lot of AP, as you can see. Like you get like about 100 AP on an average support build, which is a lot given the ratios. Um, so that's pretty cool. And then yeah, same secondary. I think I don't think there's anything you can change there. You could try that, and then get back to me if you think it's good. It's just an idea that I had, but I mean, for the sake of what we have so far, let's just say that this rune page is okay. I don't know if it's actually like
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
better. All right. And yeah. So if everyone's running glacial, there it has to be something good about it. Okay, so we can proceed with the VOD now. Yeah.
Mm?
Okay. So let me just check. You can see this, right? The green one.
Yes, yes, yes. Ethan.
Okay. All right. So
Wait.
what?
Should I be speaking in English only?
Up to you. I mean, I ask you, do you prefer English, Taglish, Filipino?
Taglish kahit okay.
Taglish. Okay, good. Sige. Um. So okay, actually, it's nice that the VOD starts here because this is where I would skip to anyway. Is there anything that you're thinking about right now? For when you're loading into the
The
game.
lane?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Uh, yeah, Swain Locks, inisip ko yun kasi you don't really see that. And then
Uh
my
huh.
Kaisa, what would happen if
I mean,
the
what
loop
is there
gets
anything
rooted?
specific things that you're thinking about, or just you're just being aware na oh may swing lock sa kalaban na you know.
Yung, like, their poke and damage, that's basically it. And then Rengar going to lane. That's what I'm just thinking about.
Okay, so it's more like abstract ideas just to sort of like prepare your brain na, okay, this is
Like
gonna happen.
visualizing the
Yeah, yeah,
lane.
yeah. Okay.
Parang ganun.
Which is not bad. Actually, I mean, some people even out tab or take a cigarette while they're doing this, so it could be worse. But okay. The first layer of I guess improvement that you have to get here, especially because I mean you're on your road to masters, so a lot of what
Yeah.
I'll be saying here, um, is applicable in all elos, but it is more important the higher you get. And this is especially the transitioning point, like from diamond to masters. I think where planning becomes so much more important. Like I would start thinking along the lines of like, oh, okay, so we have Kai'Sa Janna. So here we're not really super strong early game. At least Kai'Sa isn't. And so we want to at least get through the goal is, so I'm kind of setting the goal here first, based on like what we want, right? The goal.
Wait, hold on.
Hmm?
Midnight, di kita yung bot sa stream. Like,
What?
sa Twitch stream.
Oh, what? Wait. Um, Give me one sec. Let me fix that. Oh shoot, you're right. Uh, oh god. Hold on, hold on. What is going on? Hello? Uh, what happened? Oh. Oh, it's just like that. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine. Okay, I think now you should see it.
Yakitan.
Okay. So anyway, so that's whatever. Uh, so the goal. So I'm sort of laying out the goal, and the goal here is that, well, I want to get to the point where my Kaisa spikes. I want to get to the point where, we can safely get into team fights. Probably when Kaisa gets at least like 2 items, or like maybe after the Q evolve at least. But basically, I don't want my Kaisa to fall behind. So that's basically the goal. I'm setting that. Okay, so
Yeah.
how do we work towards that goal? And first of all, what is their goal? With Sway.
To,
Go ahead. You can answer it if you want.
you want, okay, okay. So their goal is to focus out of lane and just stop my Kaisa from farming.
Yes. So, especially higher level players, their idea is that they want to stop you from whatever you want to do. They're good at leveraging their advantages um, in lane, or like in their champions, based on your champions. I know this is not an example of like what good players would be, but in the future when you do climb, this is something important to consider, I guess. So exactly. Like they would probably poke you out. They have a lot higher range compared to your Kaisa at least, and eventually what they have is this like CC chain, and you don't have any cleanse for your ADC, which makes this sort of like a kill lane almost. It's very very tricky to play this lane if you can't like dodge skill shots or avoid any heavy trades. So this is pretty good. I don't think you would face this a lot, but there's a lot of themes like this. What I like teaching about bot laners is that there's an easier way to understand bot lane matchups by understanding themes and dynamics. And so, for example, you may not have Kaisa every game, but you will have another similar ADC that's waiting to like spike and like survive lane, similar to Kaisa. A couple of examples would include like Jinx or like Twitch, um, are even considered in the same lines. Maybe Kaisa is a bit more aggressive compared to those two, but you get the idea, right? They're not meant to, oh, we kill level 2, we just win the game. I mean, Kaisa can, but with Janna specifically, um, that's going to be the dynamic. For example, Draven Janna isn't the same dynamic, even though it's the same support. You get what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So, so that's that. And yeah, so acknowledging the same theme again for the opponents is that you might not face Swain Lux, but an alternative version of this that's quite similar is like Jin Lux. Is like, I you have high range with your W, same thing, right? Snare, one snare leads to like a billion other snares, so and it will result in a kill. I mean, it could not even be Swain Lux. It could be like Swain Karma. It's the same thing. If it gets rooted by Swain, you get rooted by Karma. So a lot of champions actually work that way in bot lane. They have very similar themes, and so if you can recognize that, it's much easier to learn bot lane that way, and at least like layer your system of like how you're approaching the game with it. So yeah, that's we've mentioned the goals. That's done, right? Now we want to break down the goal into meaningful and like attainable smaller goals. So, for example, in level 1, okay, and this is something that you could list on your own, because remember that Kaisa doesn't have much agency in this lane. What I mean by agency is that like it's not on Kaisa to do something. So because outrange and she just has to farm. So your way of affecting this lane or your bot lane combination is just you trying to make something out of nothing. So that's just how it is in like more passive side of the matchup.
So wait, so my
Mm.
interpretation of this, like my goal is to make space for Kaisa.
Yes. So like level 1, you try to trade as much as you can if it's free. For example, like if Swain goes for a CS, or if Luck is on cooldown, you go for like a quick auto W, just rinse and repeat, or something like that, or whatever. Or maybe not level 1. This is probably like level 2 or level 3 even. But like earlier in the lane, you would try to. I guess this is more like levels 1, 2, 3. That you would try to sort of you use your W for trades whenever it's free, and so that the reason why this is important is because you'd probably get poked. You'd probably not dodge all the incoming damage, but at the very least, if they decide to all in you, they're not full HP, and you might have a chance to win because you have combat spells, right? You have heal exhaust, so it makes it so that it's playable, and that's the thing in solo queue. You don't always have to be winning. That's why draft doesn't matter all too much. I know you're a big fan of that. That's why you pick like 20 other different champions. Actually,
Right.
if I go back to your OPGG, I think you have a lot of champions. Yeah, see, um, I won't recommend this. Generally speaking, I would try to limit your limit your champion pool with just 2 3 picks maybe, for so that you
Mm.
could learn much quicker because you know the champion already. But that's if you're willing to discipline yourself into doing that. That's a whole different topic. So yeah, uh I would think like, okay, if that's my idea, levels 1 2 3, and if I could make it playable, right, which is again very important in the solo queue, because that means there's room for error, and if there's room for error in a volatile environment like solo queue, someone will eventually make a mistake. Maybe not on this trade, maybe not on this all in, but eventually, if you keep doing this, someone will make a mistake, and so we can rely on that pretty reliably actually in most solo queue games. So yeah, that's the early goal. Is that what I would be thinking? And then like, probably so that's my W usage. I'm thinking about how I'm using my W. How would I use my Q? Well, I guess I'm thinking about possibly if Rengar ganks and pass to bot, and like I could see them, maybe they lane gank, maybe he's setting up for a jump. I could bait him out and like use my Q to interrupt the leap, or maybe uh while they're chasing us, I could use the queue to sort of create space so that we could run,
Yeah.
or yeah, something, anything, any other variation. But mostly, as you can tell from how I'm describing it, you're mainly disengaging with Q. Um, Most importantly, I think the most important like part about Janna players is that good Janna players know how to use their abilities and like well, and how to like keep them as well. For example, like if your Q was off cooldown, and like Rengar was just finishing, like say for example like Gromp, and then starts to path down, you have no Q if ever Rengar ults you, and it's just game over. Um, so I think the threat of you having Q is much bigger than, the pressure of like, oh, big tornado. Good thing we didn't get hit
Future
by that.
draw.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? And then obviously E is the most straightforward Janna spell. So I guess in this case, I would just E if ever I want to trade. If ever, they're focusing on my Kaisa. Let's say my Kaisa gets rooted, I want to E Kaisa and stuff like that. This is like planning towards the early levels. And I could plan on and on until like level 6. Okay, like when do I plan to use my ult, etc. But you get what I mean. It in
Yes,
general,
yes.
I think what you want to do sa early game pa lang is you get to get into the mind already of what you see in game. And lagi kong hina-highlight yung part na to as something that you have to do every single game because it's good practice. It makes you more cognizant. It avoids autopiloting, which a lot of people can do, especially if you play a lot of games in one day. So it probably doesn't matter if you only play like 2 games a day for anyone who's watching, but um, for a lot of people, they spam a lot of solo queue games. So this is an important drill. And as soon as you get better at like planning things, it will become faster. Like maybe once this bar hits like 80%, you'd be like, okay, I know what to do in the first like 6 levels. Like you've recognized already. Like just it's so automatic. And a lot of challenger players, and especially like 1K LP ones, they've done this like many many times. That it happens as soon as the draft finishes. Like okay, I know what to do. Pretty much like the first like 10 minutes of the game, and so um that's pretty important. I would say that it's much better to anticipate how your lane's gonna go and like being proactive on how you want the lane to go rather than be like, oh my god, my Kai'Sa's taking poke, I'm a shield. Like, no, stop reacting to things. Like if you see that they're trying to poke because you've recognized that in loading screen, you shield right away, right? Or you're already ready to shield for when that happens because you know that's what they're gonna do. They're trying to kill Kaisa. They're trying to like make Kaisa suffer by not getting to those spikes. So that's it for the loading screen. Any questions so far?
Wala naman.
Cool. Let me proceed to the game. Oh god, it's not muted. There you go. And we wow, your HUD is so big. I haven't seen a HUD this big in a while. Is that 100?
I'm not. I just have default settings. I
I
think.
think it's 100.
Yeah.
It's so big. Um, Now I would recommend to remove as much like clutter in your screen. This would mean stuff like removing summoner names. If you're really bothered by it not like feeling so naked that there's no name up here, at least make it a champion name. It's much shorter. It's much less distracting. But like summoner names are too much. Like I don't. Why do I have to see this? Like, can you imagine? Like I have to see this vital information. Like, there's no way. But also, oh my god, like this is taking like if I could point like a percentage on this screen, it's probably like 25%. Uh or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It's so big. Take that off. I don't even think you need to look down this much. Like how often do you look down on this HUD?
I don't know. It's just there.
Yeah, so I would think like if I'm a support player, I would be looking at the map. I would be looking at my ADC because I wanted to shield her and all that stuff. I'd be looking at where I am, maybe in some cases where my teammates are. Be looking at my opponents. The vision. Like the last thing I would look at is like here. Like you could look here through your peripheral vision. Like you could just take a peek and then you would see it. But like oh my god. Anyway, um. Ano naman, small ano naman, nitpick. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
just, yeah,
I get what you're saying naman.
yeah, okay, cool. Wow, even Kai's is confused. Wow, I don't have to use like shortcut runes to win the lane. Why do I not have biscuits? Okay, let's see here. Okay, let me actually go back here. So you have a Yorick jungle, which is absolutely fascinating. Um,
Yeah, this game is pretty weird picks, but
yep, yep. If it's not the Swain Lock spot, it's the Yorick jungle that gets you. Um, but all right. So you get back into lane. Okay, don't miss any XP. Um, okay, everything pretty standard so far. Nice. Good poke. It's the only thing I would probably like consider. No, I think a trajectory is fine. Yeah, yeah. I wanted to say like I think Swain ran into it, but I think there was a good chance of him going there. That was pretty good. Good cue. Okay. All right. So just fighting for the wave. That's pretty fine. I wouldn't do this though. This second cue is a bit grief. I
Mm.
want you to tell me why though.
Yeah, because we're about to hit level 2 and I should have used it when we were so we could all in.
Yes, exactly. There you go. I mean, I don't even have to say anything. But yeah, this is. I mean, I feel like there's some sort of like autopilot where like, oh, my queue is up, better use it. Um, you know. So like now here when we ding two, even though Lux is extremely out of position, we can't do anything. We have a 5 second window to wait, and like Kaisa's not even aware of this. Um, so now it's like pretty awkward. It's pretty awkward because you obviously want to do something where I can see you're clicking towards Lux, but Kaisa's not
I saw the snow.
Kai's not, it's not in it today, maybe tomorrow, some other time, but she's not feeling it today. So I guess nothing's gonna happen. But like, I don't think I can blame her entirely. Maybe her idea is like, well, we used Q on the wave already. I don't think we have enough damage to chunk Lux. Um, so it's not super super bad. That Kaisa couldn't follow, but it's not something we can control either. I think here what we can just learn from this that well we shouldn't use Q the next time so that we could focus on Lux whenever she steps up like that, or alternatively, I mean, and or you could like maybe ping XP or like ping the minions or ping Lux just so that this guy is gains more
Where?
awareness. Yeah, because you said you want to trust your ADC more. Well, that's never gonna happen. League never really works that way, especially in solo queue unless you have a duo. If you have a consistent duo, maybe you can develop trust the longer you play, but because you're gonna have different ADCs, it's quite the opposite. You want to let your ADCs gain your trust. Like a lot of ADCs are actually like betas. Like especially in low elo. In higher elos, the ADCs become giga chat. They would start like fighting when they know they're strong. They would start to go absolutely crazy, dive their backline, and you can see this because like the greatest like ADCs in the game, for example, like Viper to name a few, like Deft. Like when they see an opportunity, they just jump. They don't even care. Like they just know, right? But your average like low diamond, high plat ADC will probably not know that. So you just need to take the lead. And just be like, okay, I want to kill this Lux. I don't know if you're in it or not, but I want to let you know, I want to kill this Lux. And so that would probably help in most cases where like even if it was a different ADC than Bunso ng whatever his name is, uh, that you would be able to find some sort of like synergy with your ADC. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, just yep. You can even face tank everything. They have yep. Okay, cool. Great. Now the lane comes back. Oh my god. All right. So everything's pretty fine so far. Lux is a bit trolling with her abilities. That's fine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Game is going great, and I think how you like wow, a bit lucky I guess DC lag whatever it is.
Yes.
Now yeah, now your goal is to shove this wave as fast as you can. There you go. Boom. Nice. Perfect. Almost perfect. You didn't eat Kaisa though. Almost perfect.
Yeah.
I'll give that like a 9 out of 10. All right, and then we base. Nice. You didn't even greed for the base. I get triggered because I do this, but sometimes it's more annoying when my lane partner does this because at least I'm aware. Like I'm being greedy. They just have my support is just clueless sometimes. It's like
That's a day problem
yeah,
we
that's
have.
a they problem. Like I'm voluntarily choosing a new place to recall, but like there's autopilot. Anyway, this is pretty good. Like for example, you can see it with how Kaisa did it. For example, if you did it in this bush, when we know it's already warded, but that's not the point. Like if you did it in like a bush where Lux can just walk up and press E because Lux E is pretty high range, you would not get the same base timer. So doing this is pretty good. Uh Okay, what's your gold before? Okay, all right. So that's this base is. Did you get that? You could have just got an amp tome if you really wanted
Uh,
to itemize towards the mythic. I don't see why you just went for the weaker item. The mana regen, as you can see, didn't matter in like the first few levels, and it won't matter in the next few ones. The only times mana regen would matter, and that's the reason why enchanters build mana items, is for in the mid to late game, because you're out in the map so long, you need to regen so that you can be in the map. You know what I mean? You don't have to recall
yeah.
every time for mana. Yeah. So in lane, mana regen is actually less valuable, unless you're planning to stay in lane for like forever. But that never happens. There's always like proper recall timings. You could just learn that instead of, oh, my item could save me instead of recalling. Haha. Okay, so but actually here what I recommend, and this is a very solo queue thing. Do not do this if you're ever get into like a team or something like that, or like organized, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
scrims, tournaments. But in solo queue, it's very effective if you recall on something like I would say less than 800 gold, or basically not enough to get like a tier 2 item, which is like what I would call like two components combined. I don't know what you
Yeah,
call
yeah.
those. Um
Yun din naman tawag ko. So,
yeah, so like a tier 2 item, if you're not enough for a tier 2 item, just go Dark Seal.
oh,
Uh you would be surprised how if you play well enough, which I think you are with given your win rates, um you'd be surprised how quickly that thing stacks just by assists, and getting kills with enchanters aren't even that bad. I know ADCs would hate me for saying this, but that's the reality. Is that the idea is that the enchanters power spike, like Moonstone, Shurelya's, name it. Um, a lot of the similar veins, like Moonstone, um, Imperial Mandate, Shurelya's, all these things are so powerful when you first get it. It changes the whole lane. It just does. It just almost ends the whole lane whoever first gets the support. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so
Wait, can I add something on my I
yeah,
didn't go Dark Seal.
yeah.
So I was actually already judging Kaisa when she recalled there.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought she wouldn't get ahead as much, so I didn't get Dark Seal na lang.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you make the decision to go Dark Seal. It's because, well, one, it's a pretty cheap and like a non-committal item. It's not Magi's, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It could be worse. But also also it has the potential cost efficiency to go further than 350 gold. So
Yes, yes.
you're getting a lot of value from it just from its own. Like you don't have to consider how your Kaisa plays. Now I would think like based on how you would play, you would decide on whether or not to do it. But sometimes that's not even the case. Like if you are, for example, let's say a minute or so after this, they become like 0-2 because you just started inting, it doesn't change that Dark Seal is a bad or like is a good item. It's still pretty good because if this turns into like 0-4 in the next few minutes, well, your
You gain
Dark
your
Seal's
gold
getting
back.
stacks. Yeah, you're getting your
Yeah.
gold back. So for as long as it's in your inventory, it's pretty good. As long as you don't turn it into Magi's in the wrong times, I would say like it's a pretty good investment and it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty safe. Um, and yeah, in most cases, because enchanters are pretty far back in team fights and in like skirmishes, you will almost never die first unless you have to. Like let's say like for example, um it's either, let's say for example, maybe a different game where it's like a Nautilus and like Kais has 1 HP and you're full HP. You have to dive like inside of Kaisa. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah. So in some instances, it might be correct, but Dark Seal is something that solo queue support should remember. Um, Especially at the MMR you are, because there's a lot more, let's say, calculated fights. Whereas in like lower MMRs, it's a much more like, oh, I just see champion, I fight. So it's a bit better here. Anyway, you also get a pink card. Let's see how you use it. Okay, so see what happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. This I think it's fine actually. Oh, I don't have too much against it. Good trade. Okay. Oh, this one's weird. Okay, now you're just griefing. So the thing that I talked to you about, earlier applies same here. Just when Janna has one of the more bigger cooldowns because she's an enchanter that can do pretty much anything. She
Yes.
can disengage, she can peel, like there's a lot of stuff in her kit. She can set up like a gank with like W's and stuff and Q's. She has like AoE healing. So a lot of that is, to offset that is she has good like big cooldowns. And when you dump all your spells onto Swain, you're not here to fight anymore. You're done. Your contribution is done for a bit. You wait for 10 seconds and then we use them again. But I like that I like the first idea. As soon as Kaisa gets close enough that if they commit to you here, that Kaisa can follow up. I think I like the idea that you just trade right away because like your cooldowns won't well cool down if you don't use them. So but here, like what are we doing? We're just taking unnecessary minion aggro that could have been, towards the minions, taking unnecessary damage. As you can see, we took like 20 damage already. Now we're just walking up while we're still 2 seconds, 3 seconds away from our first ability. Just took damage for no reason. And then we're forced to heal. So if you want to get consistent in your laning phase, you have to look at your cooldowns. You have to play around it. A lot of mages are like this. A lot of enchanters are like this. The only times it isn't like this is if you're like playing an ADC support like Ashe or I don't know, whatever you think is an ADC support. Um so yeah. So now it's awkward. Because the lane is in a very rough spot. Yeah, and Rengar's here. So yeah. And there's no way for Yorick to counter gank you or anything like that. Even if he was like closer in proximity, let's say like here, there's no way. You guys are way too far up, you're dead. Or at least below a flash, but probably you're just dead here. And this kind of a byproduct. So if you think like this is just like, oh, I mean, well, it's unlucky we got a gank from Rengar, blah 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 blah. Well, no, you had almost all the reason to control this. So if you look further back, we saw that here Rengar was pathing topside. So he's gonna do topside camps, maybe take a look at top scuttle, and after that he's gonna path bot lane. So fast forward when you get to lane, and like Rengar recalls and goes back. If he doesn't go for camps just yet, or maybe if he already cleared crab, then at some point he's gonna look towards bot because he's already there, like he's nearest to bot. So right here, probably he's like already, on his way to Gromp or like maybe like Wolves and clearing that. So after this whole trade happens, Rengar looks at this and like, wow, they're pretty low and starts running down. Probably. I don't have the replay. I haven't watched this game prior, so I don't know what's going on. But we can see this happening because you can also look at it like this, right? How do you know that? You might say like Midnight, you're just making up stuff because you saw Rengar already. I'm not. The thing is, if we're just paying attention on the map, we already saw Rengar and Yorick are actually pathing towards relatively the same side of the map. Meaning, from what we can conclude from that is that when we're going to this trade here, right, and Yorick does a gank. So when Yorick does a gank, he's spending time less on camps, less on fountain, less on walking. He's fighting. So the time that Yorick's here, you can assume that Rengar can probably at the same time be here, but chose to clear camps and just base instead. So here, Rengar's probably chanting recall or have finished recall already. So okay, let's add more evidence to that. Okay, now when Yorick recalls, you know for sure that Rengar has recalled and is pathing towards bot. For sure. There's no way. Like unless Rengar's one of those like crazy players, there's like waiting in this bush trying to one shot a half HP Ornn when he walks up. It's never happening. It's never happening. The only time I would see this change is if Ornn was actually like way too low and he's trying to shove the wave and like Rengar swoops in for a free kill. But because he can't kill Ornn right now, he's just level 4 on half HP Ornn, he's not staying there. And this is something you have to look at. If you want to push for Masters, you have to consider everything, not just your lane, but how the jungler comes into play. So now, Yorick's walking bot. If you can see a Yorick's walking bot and is now at tier 3, you can now deduce that Rengar is past the tier 3. Do you get what I mean with how
Yes.
I'm doing this? Okay, so do that. So if we're just being cognizant of that and we're looking at the map like that, as we're doing these trades, you have to do it all at the same time. You have to be aware of like what's happening in your lane, what's happening around you. Always look at the mini map. Okay. Um,
Naka-tunnel vision kasi ata ako dito
yeah,
when we were fighting.
which is hard, right? Which is hard because you're not planning for it. That's the problem. Is that when you could do this, you could do this whole thing. For example, you do this trade, right? For example, okay, right here I could watch my map. Okay, I know that you're ganked. I could have the time to see that. There's no excuse. When I do this trade onto Swain, I burn all my cooldowns. I don't have to trade yet, just yet. I see my Yorick recalling. I can see that. I could do that while I'm looking at this trade. I could do that. So here. Now once I've committed to this trade here, like once I go deep, yes, I might not be able to see that anymore. But you have to have been looking at the other factors. The other thing that you could have done is that when Rengar shows up mid here, you could do this and count his camps. So you know he has done all his camps from this kill. So actually, you could even do this here. I didn't even see you press tab. That's on me. I know I was watching the VOD with you, but I didn't see that you press tab. But you can just see it here. I mean, it's even easier with tab because you can just kind of like map out their whole jungle and then like, oh well, his whole camps are cleared. So now he's just gonna reset from where he started, which is Groms and Wolves. So yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of supporting evidences that lead to Rengar being bot lane. You have full information almost. It's almost as if you have map hacks, right? But people don't do that. So your job is to gain that leverage that okay, I know exactly where enemies are. So when I do this trade, I need to be aware. Okay, I'm remember that I'm doing this, but be careful because Rengar's bot side, so I can't commit. You understand?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's just what happens here. I mean, and yeah, partially I would blame you because Kaisa got baited. Like I think he's the type of player who's just like, oh, my support's fighting, I'll fight. But and you can't assume any better than that. You have to just kind of like expect the worst from your lane partner. So yeah, you got bait into committing to this. I mean, arguably you got a kill, but it's not worth it because you guys blow like songs and stuff. And Rengar gets 2 kills. Not great. I would say with how you played the first part of the lane and how free the kill was on a DC'd Swain, this game would have been so free. Okay, let's talk about your next base here. Now, you did get Dark Seal. That's seal of approval. I like that. But I don't like your use of Futures Market. Now I know Futures Market is probably one of the most underrated and underused rune, so I would like to grab your attention on this specific part. Futures Market is meant for you to accelerate spikes. It means your buy, let's just put it in this way na kapag nangutang ka ng gold from the shopkeeper, it has to make sense. It has to change something. It has to do something more meaningful or else you're just losing gold. Because if you're just losing gold, you're using this rune incorrectly. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Kasi yung idea dyan is like, okay, so nangutang ka ng gold pero hindi siya nag-translate into anything, then why didn't we just wait for this on the next base? Right? So it's like I just wasted gold. So what were you saying?
Wait, do you mean I should be using this rune to get like higher value items, like tier 2
Yes.
items, like Bandocas?
Well, not all tier 2 items are impactful. For example, here having a Kindle gem and a Bandle Glass Mirror won't exactly change how this lane's gonna go. Maybe if they had Ignite, I would consider the Kindle gem as part of that because you would be harder to kill. But in this lane, it barely matters, right? Okay, I would give you a more distinct example of this for this game. How about okay? I mean, the obvious one is like Shurelya's. If you get to borrow gold to buy Shurelya's like a minute and a half earlier, or like maybe like at least 30 seconds earlier because of like the lending gold, that's huge. You just imagine that concept first. If you could get your support item instead of your usual timers 30 seconds or up to like a minute and a half earlier compared to the enemy support compared to your usual timings, that's big. Like you would always take that. You would never say no to that. That's what makes futures market OP. But if you use it like this, it's not being utilized. In fact, you're nerfing yourself by losing gold. So another example is that in a lane like this, where they're setting up kills via roots, you could use futures market to cheat gold and get merc treads for when your footwear gets up,
Oh, yeah.
right? So yeah, so there's multiple ways to do this, but like recklessly spending gold just to buy a component is not the way to do it. And again, I'm not saying you should always like aim to get a tier 2 or a mythic or a legendary item. It's not about that. It should change something. It should it should have a significant impact for you to make sense of like why you should get that now. Right? Yun eh.
So I should, if I have futures market, I have to use it with a meaning.
Yes. Yes. Not just buy anything. Yes. Okay. See that minus 50 gold that popped up? That's that's the money you lost. It's like when you bet on like the wrong horse and then like, oh well, this horse didn't do anything, right? But a horse named Shirelius might. That might be good.
Yeah.
So yeah. This one's a minus 50 horse. Anyway, enough horses. I don't know why I got into horses. Um all right. Okay. I think it is max Q, isn't it? QE, I think.
I think it's E. I did Emax here. I just
Oh.
took 2 points into Q.
Oh yeah, E. Oh wait, shouldn't you max Q last?
Yeah,
I
that
think it
was
should
an
be max.
by
Yeah, so
manual.
I was confused for a second. I doubted myself because again, best Janna player. So, but yeah, like if I was left by myself, I would have thought E max. Anyway, okay, this is pretty good. This is proactive stuff. I like this ward. Actually no, I would have liked to place it in the bush,
Ah,
like in this pixel right here. Reason being is that you would have full information on this camp rather than because okay, the difference, I like the crossroads. I like to call this crossroads because it has a, yeah, whatever that is, right? It looks like a crossroads. Don't judge. And then I like this crossroads ward when you just need to know where the jungler is like going from here, like in and out. You know what I mean?
yes,
But
yes.
because you know that, I mean, it's a jungler. They like their buffs, and if it's not your jungler, the enemy mid laner will get this. In this case, probably not Katarina, but in some other cases, it could be the enemy mid laner. So I would like to get full knowledge of this buff, um, so that, or like full vision, sorry, that so that I can make more informed decisions around my gameplay. So for example, because I know Rengar's going here at some point, I know where he's going after because this sees more, right? This sees a bit more compared to this. So like is his character model going here? Maybe he's going for lane gank. Is he going like here? Maybe he's going for scuttle or like dragon, right?
Mhm.
These like subtle differences between this, and this could mean different things that you can interpret based on how they're moving. Um, and of course, it's all pretty obvious if they go here, they might go Gromp, etc. Okay, so all that stuff. Clear on the word stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, why won't it play? Okay, there you go. Okay.
This is meaningless. Yeah.
uh, well, yeah. What are you doing there?
I don't know. See, I was autopilot there.
Yeah, this is kind of an autopilot, isn't it? Now I was expecting you were gonna ward. That would have been nice because I was following your thought process, right? It's like, okay, I'm not doing anything right now. Let me do something. La da da da. Okay, plant here. Okay, ward here, and then just your brain turned off, like
Mhm.
moments from here. It's like, boop. It's like a silence, and then I was thinking based on your clicks, because like you clicked somewhere here, somewhere close to like a warding spot, like here. Your cursor was here for a bit. Like I was thinking, like, okay, are you planning to ward here or like here or maybe even further? I don't know, but like that would have been a good idea. Instead of doing whatever we just did, and now we're just wasting time. And as I tell always to my players, um, the most important thing, or there's like three important things in like League of Legends, especially in the early game. It's time, gold, and XP. If you're wasting one of those, you're probably griefing the game. So, okay. Nice shield. All right. Doing some good work here. Perfect Q. W auto. Nice.
Ah,
Unfortunate though that that landed. Could you have avoided that? Maybe it was too greedy to go for an auto. Like W was enough space. If you because you got locked into the auto animation, you aren't able to move out right away. But I I that's just me learning from your VOD. You could do this by yourself. Um I don't actually know the all the Janna specifics, but yeah, stuff like that can be prevented by just, you know, VOD reviewing your games and understanding how Janna's trade pattern should be when I'm, you know, charge up tornado, you know, just instacast tornado, etc. Or no tornadoes, like how much can I trade with just W auto? Um, okay, and here's obviously another grief. As you see it, we just keep on casting Q on cooldown, and it's unfortunate. I don't think you could have prevented this besides holding your Q as a principle, but the Katarina came up at the same time you press Q. Um, so in this case, I would say it's unfortunate, but then again, there's always ways to improve this in the sense that why are we using Q every time? What does this poke even do? If I land my Q into Lux here, how does it change anything? Doesn't.
wala.
Yeah. Because our goal is to make sure that Kaisa survives and Kaisa gets space. We already have the space. In fact, the wave is bouncing back towards us. Why are we trying to be over egregious on pushing our advantage when we don't have to? You know what I mean? Sometimes the best thing to do in a League of Legends game is to actually do nothing. And by doing nothing, you're doing everything. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, because now this happens. You blow your flash, I mean, you die. Does Kaisa die too?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's rough. It's rough. Um. Okay. So you get Vandal Glass. Now, as you know, I'm a big hater of this build path. By the way, I would like to get Kindle Gem a lot more. It's just more impactful in lane. You would almost never see the the mana region and nor the AP transform the lane in a lot of games. Now, if you're a different enchanter that actually spams stuff, what's an example of this?
Soraka.
Maybe like Soraka or like Karma, which uses a lot of mana, maybe. But because Janna's more like calculated mana usage and trades, you don't actually need this. Um, and in fact, the Kindle Gem, specifically in this lane, um, would convert into much more wins in trades and all-ins because you just have more HP. They can't kill you with like one or two roots and a few other spells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get some.
Okay. All good. What is this? Yes, I think you skill up E now. Should be. Mm-hmm. When do you ever actually skill up the ability? Okay. Alright. Okay, so we're just chilling now. Like now is the part of the game where nothing's happening. Mm-hmm. Okay, Yorick's here. Rengar could be here though. This is risky. I wouldn't queue like this. Like okay, okay. So this is what I'm afraid about is that when moments ago when this happens, right? Look at how everything
I can
transpired.
see Rengar there. What?
Yeah. But besides that, look at how the map changes. So it goes dark. You can see that, right? It went dark because you had no more minions. Okay. Keep watching how the map changes from here. Um. So we go on. So now the river is dark because Yorick's not there. So now there's a lot of room for like. Now there's a lot of room for something like if there was a blast cone here, if Rengar was walking down here, you know what I mean? Like anything could have been happening in that darkness. We don't know that. What we do know is that after this wave either crashes or gets like taken by Kaisa, it will start to push back. So you need to prepare yourself for what's coming because now that you don't see it, you have to just anticipate. It's just like, you know, that's the beauty of League of Legends is that sometimes you have to play and look like she's making it super suspicious. Like why would he start looking for, for an angle here? Maybe she was trying to like look for some Q angle or something, and then she found a ward. Immediately she goes to clear it, and like, wow, that's pretty convenient. Now the map is pretty dark. I don't even know what's going on. Someone could be here right now, right? So I don't know. I would start to raise more questions. It's not about being wrong or right. It's just that it's much better to anticipate this just in case you get
Yeah.
into that, yeah, into that worst. I don't actually don't know if Rengar comes here or not, but like I just won't throw out my Q like this.
When Lux was rewarding this, and Kaisa wanted to go there, I pinged Swain Rengar, but just to stop her from going. Pero I didn't really think about where Rengar could be.
Yeah,
So
but also you still use Q. I don't think you
yeah,
should
yeah.
waste Q. Yeah, that's it. Oh, this is rough, and there's not much you could do. Nice. Dark Seal, baby. Okay. Nice, good shield. Okay, I don't think you have to fully commit to this, no? Okay, now we see Rengar though. But like up until then, we don't know where he is. Am I right?
Yes, yes. So this was just lucky.
That was just lucky. He could have been just waiting. Yeah, that was the next time we saw him. Like I would have not like when we get the scale and I shield Kaisa here, I would just recall in the bush or something like that. Or maybe I don't know, something else. But I would not greed for this. I would just maybe sit in the bush, maybe wait for my Q and stuff like that. Or I could chase and hold my Q. I could also actually do that. Or oh yeah, I didn't see the XP. I didn't see the XP. I mean, I don't know if you're thinking about that though. I don't know if you're thinking about like
No,
using your
no.
Q or your okay. But yeah. That's me with like less Janna experience too. Like I didn't, yeah. So anyway, so there it is. We got that. So here I wouldn't walk up. Don't get the plates. You could steal kills, you could do whatever you want for support, but do not get the plates because this is the only thing that's like guaranteed to get right now. For example, like kills, while it's meant to be, it's much better to be given to ADCs 90% of the time. Sometimes kills are very dicey. It's like if you leave the kill up, maybe the ADC doesn't get it and they flash. Or like maybe if you don't kill them right away, they kill your ADC and they won't kill it.
Yeah,
Diba? That happens. So sometimes you are forced into taking kills, but here you're not forced to do this to take the plates. Just give them the gold.
yeah.
And again, it just goes part back to the planning thing. If you really I understand what makes your lane win here, it's to get Kaisa items. It's never about you. You will get your items anyway, regardless of how this lane goes. Like Janna's one of those champions that's still stable regardless of how the lane goes. So you don't have to be here. I would start now that Rengar showed top, I would start moving around, placing wards. But instead, you share gold, and this now gives like very very little gold because it's split into three people, and yeah. So and those things matter. Maybe like here when Kaiser recalls, like she's missing I don't know like 60 gold, 50 gold, something like that, and that like you splitting the turret plate gold might have changed it. It it might be that you don't do that, but still gold is gold and it's something you can't waste on a guaranteed objective like plates. See here, I just want to comment on this just because briefly, I just like nitpicking things because, specifically because you just can't get complacent when you're pushing to masters. You have to find every little thing, and this little thing is one of those things. Why are we doing this ward? Why not this ward? Covers more area. Why not this ward over here on this bush that covers a much deeper intel so that we can anticipate things faster. This is an autopilot ward, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like this could be changed. Um, okay, and here I don't like that you bought lucidity boots. I think I'm not even a Janna main. I just know support matchups enough that Janna goes Mercreds here. I think it's so flippy that you go lucidity against Swain Lux. Where lanes like this, I think it's just Lux, like Lux plus X because of how her binding stuff works.
Right.
Like any combinations with Lux, I think I would always go Merc Treads. There's no way. I would never risk it. That's the because like in solo queue, the reason why Lux is so OP and like she's always like S tier on like pro guides on OP.GG and stuff like that is because people always eat the bindings. And so if you can just either avoid getting rooted by having either of course more movement speed from the tier 2 boots, but also the tenacity, right? The extra MR, then you won't get like one shot by Lux. Even more now that you're up against a double AP lane. It's just I don't know. So think about your items more when you're doing this. I remembered one of your comments towards like a couple of my friends, even mine probably, is that you probably think like me and my friends spend way too much time in the shop doing nothing. It's because we're actively thinking and like weighing out each item instead of just buying an item. Because we know how impactful each item is. And if we buy the wrong item, we could possibly grief the game, or I'd be forced to reset it later, and then I would get like negative gold, right? So that's why we think too long, and I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to purposely leave. I mean, not purposely, right? But like purposely, I guess think longer. Try to think longer, even if you know, even if you already find out the answer. Like say for example, the ideal scenario here is okay. I want to buy Shirley's game, but before you buy Shirelius, actually think about it first. Like before you click on it, spend like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, doesn't matter. Even if you don't change your answer, just training your mind to start weighing other options will prove to be more useful in the long run because later on, once you've done more of the thinking now, later you start thinking less because you've already thought about it before and muscle memory and patterns kick in. Do you get what I mean?
Yes,
Sa
yes,
niya.
yes.
So it's better because when you just buy like this, you're not learning, and when you're not learning and stuff like that, that's the byproduct of, or you're becoming a product of like the average D4 gatekeeper or something like that. And we're in like they might have hit like D3, D2, but they go back D4 because they feel like they're not learning as much anymore. It's like when you stop refining on stuff as important as itemization, which I believe is a fundamental, and it assesses your critical thinking skills. Um, I think it's gonna be harmful for your push towards high-low. So in any case, we go back. All that makes sense, right? No questions.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So you're saying I should spend more time in like thinking about stuff when I buy stuff.
Yes, for the purpose of learning. Obviously, optimally speaking, you shouldn't because again, time is the most important resource.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the three. But if it means you learn from it, do it. And you'll probably thank me a few months from now if you start getting better at this. It's your a lot of people have expressed the same sentiments. Whoa! What? Why'd you snap R? Can't you just hold it?
Yeah, I could have just hold it.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay,
I have the habit now is pressing R and then to push them back and then running away, run away.
okay. So the only time you do that is for like interrupts, or I mean, it's not even that. Like sometimes, I mean, I think the only thing you do that is like when you need to interrupt, plus you need to move. That's it.
Hmm.
But when you don't have to, for example, here, right? There's no threat. You just kill their bot lane, and Rengar has to choose one target. There's no way Rengar can, use Rengar Q on both of you at the same. It's not possible. You can't make things up like that. So
Yeah.
if he chooses one target, it's either you or Kaisa. In both cases, you can hold R up until he walks up to you. Let's say for our different scenario would be like if you are them and they have empowered E, yeah, you can maybe move first, but you can instantly assess that. For example, here you see that he has no stacks on ferocity, um, and stuff like that. You could just hold the R, and that's not even that's something that you could easily prepare. Like again, all about like planning how to use your abilities, making the most out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So here actually I don't really know how Rengar works as much because I don't really see him as much in my games.
So what do you mean by that?
usually.
Why did you
Like I
mention that?
don't know what to look out for specifically.
Oh,
Like here, the stacks, I didn't even notice that because I don't know how he works.
oh, okay. Well, then you also need to work on stuff like that, like learning other champions and stuff like that, because you will find all these different champions like as you play more solo queue games, and every single time that you face a new one, for example, like you probably understand how Kaiser abilities work already. So maybe in this game, instead of jumping into another solo queue game after, okay, you know what? I have no idea what Rengar does. Let me see how Rengar plays out. Watch the game from Rengar's POV. You would learn how Rengar works, what he's thinking about, what his abilities do because you could hover, etc. You could read how his passive works and stuff like that. That way, you could learn champions that you know is coming up because you saw it in your game. Kasi what I do because it's part of my job is I read every single champion's abilities. It's because I need to. Um but for you because you're just a player, you can just okay, I don't recognize this champion. I'm going to review that after the game. But for now, I'm just going to play with my instincts on how I play Janna.
Mhm.
So okay, with that in mind, sure. Um it's I'll give you like a pass for the snap monsoon, but now you know. Now you're a bit better equipped for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um.
Is
Okay.
it good to be placing that word all the time? Actually,
All the
like if that
it.
if
Mhm.
if it breaks, diba, it leaves a mark down that I've worded there. Is that
Yeah.
still okay to be wording there then?
This
If
is a
I
good question. This is a good question, and this is something that I would probably only get from like higher level supports more than others. So I would say you have to pay attention on how your ward dies. So for example, if this ward only expired, you can place one again. If this ward was cleared out with a red trinket or a pink ward, don't place one again because they're now predicting where your wards are. In fact, in pro play, this is the most important thing to recognize because a lot of pro players obviously have seen all the default wards. All of their coaches probably tell them all the default wards. What they do on the spot in stage games is that they improvise. For example, Carrier does this a lot. Where like he would ward maybe like here or here first, and then as soon as they sweep, like a jungler sweeps this because he's looking for like deep wards. Because like a pro jungler would know that the enemy support deep warded, right? Carrier would never place this ward. He would place one here or like something
ah
random like here, like something that where the jungler probably didn't sweep. And it's like this like layer of mind games because then what would happen is that the next time the jungler sweeps, you know what he would find? There's a ward here, and then he's just gonna get mixed up. Why is there a ward here? And then now you mix it up. Okay, I've warded here, warded here. I'm a ward here, or maybe I bring back the ward here, and then it's just more complicated to clear wards when you don't know where exactly the wards are. You get me?
yeah, yeah.
And
So
that's that.
basic. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
No, no, wait, wait.
Basic. Okay. So
That's just being, I know, that's just being generous. I guess most junglers probably don't even mix it up. They would probably just sweep the same place. You could get away by changing it once, and then you would just see the jungler all the time because they would always sweep this and not this.
mhm.
So what you were saying?
so so here you told me do not put the same word again if they sweep the correct word. So another question brings up if they see it dying naturally, I don't put it there.
Yes. For as long as they've seen how this ward got destroyed or expired, just don't put it there.
Okay.
But if it manually expired, sometimes kasi they don't even realize this ward rubble feature. But also that means they're not actively checking this.
Mhm.
So you just kind of like psychological stuff there. Okay, this ward I don't get. If you're already warding here, you shouldn't invest a ward here. It covers the
Okay.
same thing. If you see them here, you would probably see them here again. So you don't need this to confirm. Now,
Okay. Okay.
I would much prefer if you move this ward somewhere over here, somewhere along this line, like right here. Um Anywhere in this space would probably more beneficial because this area is different from this area because there's different exits. But here, because because there's only one way here, one way here, and like this ward can see people who are coming from your other ward, and I guess people who are coming from here. But then why if so okay, this is the problem with this ward, right? It's kind of like in the middle of like a good and a bad thing. It's like while you can see what's coming from here, why not just move this here? That that pretty much does the same job.
Yeah.
But if you didn't want to see that, you want to see like what's happening over here, you already see that. So why do we place this ward? And if you want to see exactly like what they're trying to do here, let's say for example, they're hugging this wall, maybe they're going for like a bush tactic, or maybe they're going for here, maybe they're going through mid. If you want to see that specific thing, just move it here on this line. And you would see whether they go dragon, they would go bot, like it's just infinitely more useful, right? That's the difference between active warding and default warding. Default warding is nice at the start of the game because um everything is like sort of like on reset. You don't know how the enemy thinks. You don't know what your game plan is with your team unless you're playing on a pro team or something like that. Like nothing's set in stone. So don't adapt into anything yet. But as soon as the game changes a bit here and there, change your wards. Adapt your wards into how the game evolves. So for example here, um we don't have to see this now, or we don't have to put this ward now because we realize that because of the current game state, a ward here is infinitely more valuable somewhere around here because we can see and cover this area when dragon's about to spawn. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like this ward isn't gonna matter all too much when the dragon isn't even up. Like it's whatever. But still less value from what we've talked about. Then a ward like this pixel bush ward would make more sense because instead of it being a ward covering the dragon area space alone, because it's further up right here, you could see people coming from here going into like mid lane bush gank, or like people invading your jungle, people placing wards in your red side jungle. So a lot of different variables come into play with different wards you put. It changes how you play. So you have to constantly be thinking about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, what happened here? So you're trying to get Katarina killed here. I don't think this happens. So I um I mean you looked at the wave too late, I think. No, you saw it now. Yeah, there's no way. So what I would have done, just again, I'm trying to I know we're just 12 minutes into the VOD, but we spent so much time already. But bear with me because I need you to understand all these early game concepts for you to push the masters. So
Yes.
so here, as soon as you click towards Katarina, as soon as you input this movement, look right away. Right away. I need this exact information right now, whether I have to commit to this wave, because the difference is if I can't commit to this wave and Katarina can just either blink out or maybe run out or recall, I'm wasting my time. What should I be doing instead? In this
Uh,
case, if
in this case,
if Katarina is able to back off and recall, um, what what should I have been doing instead of just randomly
like
chasing?
probably just ping my Kaisa to stop and then push the wave
No,
here
no, no, no,
instead.
no.
Uh,
You, Janna.
me,
Yeah,
not sure.
I would just recall. There's nothing's happening. There's no one in bot. No one's. I can't try to defend bot when there's no one, in there. Objectives aren't there yet. You have enough timer. You know that because Janna has tier 2 boots. You can easily get back into dragon. There's no setup for Janna, unlike Zyra, for example. Um, you can get back if you recall right now just to refill wards, right? Because they might deward this. They might use their sweepers or pink wards to remove visions. You need wards again. But also, there's nothing else to do. You're not needed here. If we see this wave right away that it's about to die and Katarina's gonna base or it's gonna move out of the way, I just need my Kaisa to fetch that and I'm a dip, right?
Yeah.
That's just the straightforward plan. So right here we're just wasting time, and this time changes really quickly. I don't know if you press tab. 25 seconds now. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, and now you can't recall. You can't. You just can't. I mean, you can if you think like the idea is, or Rengar is gonna be topside, but you don't know that yet. If Rengar is gonna beeline the dragon here, you can't recall here. You're now forced in here. Whereas earlier, when you had about 30 seconds, you can get there, be a bit 5 seconds late, but you're always behind your team anyway. That being a few seconds late doesn't matter. But here, the difference that you made here from when you walked up into this bush from moments ago is that you can now understand that, well, damn, if I recall that this moment, if there's a fight happening later on as soon as Dragon starts, I'm gonna be at red buff. That's bad. I can't help my team if I'm at red buff. There's no way, right?
Yes.
So stuff like that. And I know I'm kind of giving you sort of like the answers here because stuff like this can be hard to recognize like off the bat. You would have to watch a lot of replays. That's what I did to understand like how fast you need to be in order to get back from lane as Janna to support my teammates, right? But I would say there's no consistent way of learning that besides just watching VODs and stuff. So do that. And yeah, you can see it here. I mean, if Rengar just didn't randomly int this, you wouldn't ever be close to getting the dragon because he's already in the map. Like he could have easily ran bot or dragon here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. But now it's free. I mean, honestly, you don't even have to be here. Um, there's very little like room to yeah. There's no way. Like I would say the only thing you have to worry about here is like Lux ult, but it just
There's nothing I can do about that
there
anyway.
no, but like it's not possible because you have smite.
Yeah.
You have a 1200 smite, I think. Do you? Yeah, you do. You
Yes,
have a
yes.
1200 smite. Like it's not possible. So when we kill Rengar here, instant thing you have to do, recall. That's the first step because we missed the timer. We missed the timer here. Recall now so I can get back on the map after, you know, my champions or my teammates, sorry, have, you know, maybe for example, after dragon they want to, you know, let's say invade the enemy bot jungle, they want to go for plate spot. You want to be, you know, carrying wards already in your inventory to support that play, so you can put deep wards, so you can put like wards in the river to avoid some sort of like flank going on. Or maybe they recall after dragon. Well, at least now I'm out of the map and I can help Ornn. Maybe we can facilitate something with Ornn. Every single thing you do here from now on with time usage increases your agency and your impact as a support. Because the problem is, if our initial, because our here's our initial like problem that we proposed, right? It's like, oh, I can't trust my ADCs. But how can they even how can you even beg for a trust when you're not even pressuring as much with your champion? Like it's not that you're getting pulled back. You're putting the weights on yourself. So because if I was already here, like 20 seconds later, I'm Janna, if I started recalling right away, I could have done something. If Ornn lands like a slow or like a knockup and something, we could convert that into something, a spell, a kill, doesn't matter. But I did something instead of doing whatever this is. Just doing how much damage you deal in this dragon anyway. It's like
Barely.
barely anything. It's I would say like sub 200 damage. And it still got stolen. And could you have changed anything there? No. You shielding
No.
Yorick won't force him to smite. You being there won't stop Lux from ulting. So why are we here? Does Kaisa need you to shove here? Why are we still here? Do you get why it's now like very very important to like do this?
Yes.
Yeah. It just never happens. It just never happens that this is the rotation. And this is being greedy. Look, I like um right now you're now stuck in lane because this wave didn't crash, because you didn't recall, because you know it's like a chain, it's like a domino effect because of like what you didn't do. Now we're trading even though we saw Rengar. What is going on? Look at minimap. I didn't comment earlier because I was like explaining other things, but
Mhm.
we saw Rengar already here on our
Yeah,
first
there,
queue.
there.
Yeah. I mean, yes, again, granted, this Q wasn't bad up until you saw him, but why are we committing to this? Back off. Because the problem is if you're moving in psychologically, your ADC is also wanting to move in because a lot of ADCs are trained to follow up in solo queue. They've been trained with this because melee supports are a thing because of how solo queue is a lot more skirmish heavy, a lot more laning focused, and so they feel like whether it's correct or not, but their first instinct is to go like, okay, I want to fight my support. I can't leave my support to fight alone. So they want to fight. Whether or not you think this is true or not, it will happen in some of your games that like ADCs are influenced by you. And this ADC is fully committed. Now, in some cases, you can't avoid this. Maybe in some cases, this Kaisa commits anyway. But don't give him more incentive to do so. Because by you moving forward here and like wanting to trade, Kaisa's like, oh yeah, I got my Janna with me. There's no way, right?
Hmm.
There's that moment where like you need to just kind of bail out. That's where what we call cutting losses is that if Kaisa does something dumb and commits to this play, don't go with him and die with him. If this is your best friend, or let's make it your family, and they told you, wow, Ren, jumping off a cliff is a good idea, don't you think? And like they started try to hold your hand, and you be like, well, yeah, I mean, I've been with you all these years, like surely nothing bad will happen of that. Like, no, you can think for yourself. Once you start realizing, wait, I would die if I do that. There's no way. No, you go
Yes.
jump off a cliff on your own. I don't care if how long we spent 30 minutes in the rift. Like, there's no way. No way I trust you with my whole life. So yeah. So now here, I mean, Rengar whiffed his ult. I mean, I don't even know how that happens. He still got the kill. Um, but yeah, now you blow sums. You give a kill to Rengar, and it's getting pretty bad. And now you're recalling, but it should have been earlier. And this is a good futures market purchase. There you go. Everything clear so far. No questions.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Um, okay, what's happening here? Sorry, I think I sped up too fast. I didn't think something would happen. What is this? What? Wait, what? What are we doing
So
just now?
Yorick was coming na agad.
Uh,
So
okay,
I opted to walk out.
okay, but there's no kill here. I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but I saw it, but like I saw it right away because I know how these champions interact. The only way for them to get a kill here is that for some reason they still stay on this wave and CS this wave. But if you give them the signal right away, look at how fast you try to go at this play. You insta Q, you walk up, all right. Shirel, like they know that something's gonna happen now, so they're obviously gonna back off.
Mhm.
So I would say like until they're committed to something, whether it's a CS, whether it's like maybe they root you first. Maybe you'd be like, oh look at me, I'm so dumb. I'm just a little Janna. Please root me. And like once they root you, now you pop the Shirelles and be like, haha suckers, our Yorick is here. You know, like you wait. Like the thing about League of Legends in a subtle way is that it's kind of like a I don't know how to refer. I'm running out of analogies. It's kind of like a storybook. I don't know where I'm going with this, but let me cook. So like the idea is that every character is talking in this book. Like right here, like Lux like haha, I'm throwing spells, you're getting annoyed, I'm poking you, You could put in whatever dialogue you want, but for as long as it makes sense in terms of the game, right? But like here, the dialogue is so clear when you say like Shirelia's here and like okay, we're gonna kill you. You better run. If you don't run now, you're dead. Like there's no other signal here. You know what I mean? If I was them, if you were them, really, if you were the Lux player, you would have the same reaction.
Yeah.
You so you're working backwards. I wouldn't do this play because now Yorick went back because like well now they're too far away. So but also, I can't see this kill happening right now because of how far Yorick is. And Yorick doesn't have a setup besides a slow and a snare that could be dodged if you have faster movement speed. So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to set up this kill. I wouldn't even try to go for it At least not this early. I would wait. And also, I think Yorick ran into a ward. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So they know they're here.
So,
So
may parang my body language says all.
yes, body language. There you go. That would have been the easier thing instead of going storybook. Anyway, yeah. As you can tell from this session already, like there's a lot of psychological factors that come into play that wait that go, I guess, under the radar for some solo queue players because no one teaches you this. Like the game doesn't teach you this. Some YouTubers probably won't teach you this, and so it's weird that. Well, first of all, it's weird we're here right now. But first of all,
Mhm.
it's weird to hear psychological stuff from a video game because normally you would hear this from like physical sports, right? From when like, oh, you trying to stare at the opponent while you're dribbling the ball instills fear, and sometimes they make them hesitate. Or like maybe in a different sport like chess, you sleeping while the opponent's thinking of a move is making the opponent frustrated because like why are you sleeping? We're having a chess game, right? So that maybe puts them off their calculation and stuff like that. Normally it's applied on physical sports, but in esports it's rarely being talked about because one, it's so underexplored because the esports still is fairly a fresh market compared to sports like traditional sports, but also um that's not what's being advertised in media. A lot of what you see and absorb in media is like, here's the top 10 combos that you can use in Yasuo to elevate your game. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, what do I do with that? Oh, I mean, if I would do it, if I know the combos, then what happens? Or like, I don't know. Here's the 5 best champions you can use right now in support, and blah 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 blah. Like even if you know all these things, it doesn't change anything. But they never talk about these things. I mean, you could correct me if I'm wrong. There's probably some video out there that does, but I would say like the volume and the ratio of like the people who talk about this part compared to like the mechanics, the flashy parts, and all these other things are like little to none. I think
Mhm.
so. It's pretty weird to hear, but it's a part of the game, and you have to accept that now you're getting up to the upper rankings. I mean, obviously, I don't know what this is. I actually have no idea what this is.
This is just an ant,
This is
actually.
just an ant.
So
There's
I
no way.
saw Kaisa walking up, so I think I have to fight with him, and then I just died
Okay, so
for
let's
no
talk
reason.
about. Okay, yeah, let's talk about changing your emotional triggers. Talking about psychology, this is something that's important because I feel like this is starting to become less of a problem in game, and now starting to become a problem of your character. I think you're actually in real life a person who likes to build trust with people, and so that if you feel like um there's some sort of discord in that trust, whether it's like shaky or something like that, you feel like you want to sort of forge it, and in some way, like, okay, for me to gain your trust, for me to trust you more or stuff like that, like vice versa, I need to do stuff with you so we could learn from each other. But the idea is that some things in life don't work that way. Sometimes you have to. It's sometimes you learn more from letting go of that emotion than keeping it in. Because the problem is, like, I know this kind of irrelevant for a bit, but if you let me go on, I think the problem is this will produce long term sort of like changes in you that you start to keep following people. And
Mhm.
that's not necessarily bad, but you're reducing your voice as an individual. There's a lot of iconic figures out there. And whoever one you choose to follow is gonna shape up your mindset, your identity. Um, we can talk about politicians that you can vote for when we talk about like elections. We can talk about your student officers or your student council, or we could talk about let's say if you're gonna have your own community, you're gonna talk about like which moderator should you start to vouch for. There's a lot of things that work the same way, but you can't just try to be sheep and like flock. You
Mhm.
at some point you have to stop and think for a bit, because we've seen that pattern on and on now, and I realized we're not talking about the game anymore. A lot of this is an interaction with like how you connect emotionally to the game. You're so invested. For example, here, like a lot of what your reaction is more like, okay, I want to fight with Kaisa. I want to be there so that if something happens, I'm there for Kaisa. If I'm there with Kaisa, I get an assist. Maybe I can shield her so that she can keep going. Like it's less about like what the overall picture is. It's like if we convert this into life stuff, let's say for example, like you like a streamer, let's say like Tyler One, that's something you'd look up to. I don't think it's applicable, but in hypothetical scenario that you look up to him, you'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna buy a shirt for Tyler One, and maybe he notices me after this. Maybe I donate to Tyler One, like 100,000 pesos, so that maybe he reads my comment and stuff like that. But it's never going to be like that. You know, it's never going to be like that unless that's already like happening like that. So
Mhm.
so you can't just get into this whole like spiral of, oh, i'm just gonna I'm just gonna keep trying to force this to work, because people, it's either you're seeing other people do it, like maybe you're seeing other players do this in game, or you're seeing maybe people in real life do this and they get some success, but you can't follow that. You can't replicate someone else's success. Make your own story. Instead, here what you could have done is that I should have thought like, okay, how should I lead my Kaisa to a victory? You see how that narrative is so different from like
Mhm.
okay, how should I set up my Kaisa for success, or how should I follow up on Kaisa's play? So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that thing, but like, am I am I being vague with this, or do you kind of get where I'm going with this?
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
wait, can I say like my analogy on this?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, stop always being a people pleaser. Can
Yes. Yes. You could also say it like that. I mean, I don't know if that's you in real life. I mean, do you think that applies to you?
yeah, I guess so.
Okay, because that's what I'm getting. I that's what I'm getting from judging your gameplay. I actually think the gameplay is connected to. I mean, we know that, right? We know that how you think in game is parallel to how you think in real life, because it's using the same brain. But
Mhm.
oftentimes, or no, sometimes actually very little, rare opportunities do arise where the gap is in the gameplay. But from what I've gone through in this coaching session so far, I don't know how long we've been here, um is that I'm getting all the signals that everything is happening because of how you're thinking emotionally. So it's hard. I don't think it's gonna be an overnight process. You can't change this as quick as, as like, okay, our coaching session is done. Now I'm not as emotional and I don't want to follow ADCs anymore. It's not gonna happen like that. But I'm at least giving you the awareness and the step that you should actively try to work on not being like that anymore, because while it may give you short-term success, wherein like, okay, there's maybe like a play where you get rewarded, like, oh nice, because I followed up Kaisa, we got a double kill. Surely Kaisa's proud of me. Surely we can, we can make this work. We can win now. Like, but like, yeah, but then other games doesn't work like that. And in other cases it also happens like that in life. If you get along with someone, right, and you feel like they're starting to notice you more, you don't really know that. You um maybe they just entertain you, but like they don't really care so much, and so all of a sudden you wasted your efforts on nothing. So rather, focus on yourself and focus on making sure that you feel satisfied yourself, because I don't feel like when you dying here, I feel like the first emotions that come into play are regret. I feel it's like frustrations, it's like sadness, it's all negative, because you're trying to do something that would fit someone else's expectations, the Kaisa in this case. But because you've let them down, it's like, oh, I've inted now my Kaisa has no support and we've lost our lead, blah blah blah. Why am I even in there? You start asking all these like random questions in your head. Maybe not all at the same time, but some of them are going in, seeding through the cracks because, sometimes we have a shell, right? Solo queue players have this shell where like we're trying to block off negativity, but we can't block off everything. And if something goes through like that, it affects us mentally. It affects us how we go forward from this point on. And so the correlation to that in terms of like how you think emotionally and in real life is that if you feel that regret in real life and that one person that you please, that one person that you feel like you've gotten their attention or you've gotten their approval or something turns back on you, now what? What's left in you because you've worked the past X days, the past X hours, X months, fully committed on that plan, but it just didn't work out the way you wanted it to be, and you're disappointed because you set a level of expectation. So I think um I think it will take a lot of time to start doing this, but yeah, try looking at yourself a bit more and start looking less at others. In terms of like satisfying your emotions. I'm talking about, so like the way to know whether you're moving forward with a goal like this is that ask yourself, what did I feel after that play? What did I feel after this choice? You could do this in real life. You can do this in game, in real life, it doesn't matter. But like when you did something, ask yourself, what did I feel? And it's a very important question to ask that specific set of words because you're left with a specific answer. I felt happy. That was great. I felt like that was satisfying. I felt that I was, more motivated now. I felt that was I feel accomplished. I feel like I could do better. And it's more tangible because in games like this it's so easy to think that the problem is the game. Um for example, here I should be like, you know what? I should have just not. Like, you start thinking about logic. That's a problem, and I would know that because that's the first problem I had. I'm a very logical person, so I would start to argue logic first before emotions. So I would be like, if I die here in the same spot you are, I'd be like, I mean, I had no sums. Kaisa didn't commit yet. Why did I blast cone? There's no objectives. I would start arguing logic. But what I learned through like talking to people and getting therapy is that sometimes we need to understand how we feel first and to change our direction. Because here, yeah, you would feel bad first. And so now you're thinking, now your brain gets rewired into thinking first that why did I do something that would make me feel bad? And then you bring in the logic. That's how it should go. That's how it should go. Like, okay, that was pretty bad. I felt bad doing that. I don't know why I'm doing something that makes me frustrated. That's just, I shouldn't do that. I should find something that makes me more more motivated to win this, a bit more happy with the game state and stuff like that. And then you start to kick in, well, I didn't have to do that. I could have just sit there and wait until Kaisa commits. That's the layer. Do you understand like the step by step now? It's like
Yes.
emotions first. Okay.
So
Everything.
like
Yeah.
regret, and then you start to know what you shouldn't have done there, and yeah, you start to realize everything.
Okay. So, all right. So that's, I mean, honestly, a lot of what we're gonna address, I think, in the rest of the VOD are going to center around that, but I will not mention it anymore. And start to focus on the gameplay stuff because there's no point. Right. Just at this point, just note it down. Okay. So anyway, we got back into the game after that int. We both know why that was an int. We don't need to pretend. Okay, here I would not do the same way you did here. I would start first walking into the tower because I want to shield the tower because I want to collect the XP, I want to collect the gold. Um, I would click towards the tower right away. And if at any point my Q range reaches the threshold of um like hitting the wave, I would Q there as I'm moving. There has to be no delay. Because like here you stop for a bit, right? You're looking for like an angle where it's like a surprise angle, it's whatever, right? But the thing is, it's less important to get the perfect lineup than you getting here and getting the shield off. So so yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, while you do get it, I mean, yeah, you'll still get the same effect if you cast tornado here, here, same thing. But you'd be nearer because you kept moving and you didn't stop. Make sense? Right?
Hmm?
Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Because yeah, now it's
Kasi here, natakot ako na baka ma-dive lang ako ng tapa.
but you have Q.
Yun nga.
You have Q, you have heal. I mean, there's not there are, I mean, but also it's partially because of like what you did. It's because you stopped here. Um that's why I feel like Katarina knows that he has enough time to kill this tower. Again, if we go back to the psychological part of this game, is that sometimes you showing up here right away might mean like, oh my god, am I here because like is he here because maybe someone else already wrapping up behind, or maybe someone else is following Janna for the movement speed. Like, why is Janna here right away? You know, like at least bring Katarina to the point of hesitation. Because here you're just giving him all the credit. Like, haha, I'm just taking all your tower. You're all the HP on your tower, and you have nothing to say about it. And like here, you saw your Q. He saw your Q, so like even more incentives. Like, I'm gonna keep hitting this. I'm not scared. You're Sajana. Again, the whole body language is showing in this game. And so, okay, so now we can't prevent that. So let's try to hover Herald here, and we look at this fight too late. I think in top lane. Let's see. Like here, when the circles start colliding, this happens anytime. By the way, this is just the first time I pointed out. Anytime some circles start colliding or some HP values are changing, look at that fight. I mean, I don't even know what's happening in bot lane. So your map awareness needs to be more than just looking at the map. You need to be physically looking at these, right? You probably see it in one of my games or in some other streamers, is that they would like constantly try to look at what's happening around the map, and their screen moves fast, right? Actually, if you watch Haxel stream, he does this a lot. He would look at like other lanes constantly because he's trying to get information. It's like there, I don't know if I needed to run ASAP towards Ornn and Irelia to help them because I wasn't watching the fight. I just saw how it ended. But it could have been that in some cases they needed you there, and they were playing around the part where, okay, we're four side on top, we can take a fight, you know. And if they miscalculate and you didn't help them sort of like leverage that and swing the favor a bit on your end, then that's your fault because there was an opportunity but you didn't look. So that's one other thing about map awareness that you need to level up. So yeah, I mean, maybe you don't have to look at bot lane in that specific scenario because there's no way you could change it, but sometimes getting the information is good as well. Because all the body languages and some of the information that you don't see on the minimap can be seen there. Like maybe they burned Vayne ult and you didn't see it. Probably he burned Vayne ult, but like you the thing is, like, you could keep guessing. It's like, well, I mean, it's a 1v2, probably Vayne ulted. You could say that. It's a pretty logical way of doing it, but you didn't see it. So you don't know whether that information is true or not. You're just kind of like guesstimating. Also here, don't buy this. Anti-heal. This is bad. This is bad.
What
Um
could have I just bought? Redemption na agad?
yeah, you could go redemption right away.
Okay.
Especially when you're here, like moving around, especially in solo queue, when you have to move around because there's fight everywhere. Redemption's OP in like in changing. It's like a mini Soraka ult in a way. If you think about it, it's like a Soraka, but like it's targeted ult, like targeted area. Um, so it's pretty good. It's pretty useful. And the problem is that as Janna, you can't really apply the the grievous wounds enough. Like your way of applying it to multiple people. Remember how we discussed some time ago, like off stream, of course, that you buy um you buy grievous wounds on the champion that's most effective in your team comp, especially with champions that have AoE abilities, right?
Mhm.
I think we both agree on that. So while Janna does have an AoE ability in the form of a Q, it's it's very hard to land compared to others. A good example of like what's an easier to land AoE ability that you can cast on like on and on is like Lux E, right? It's pretty
Mhm.
consistent and it's pretty much undodgeable. Um, the Janna Q, I mean, not only is it you know risky to land in terms of like you don't know where it's gonna hit, but also uh that's it. Like no other part of your kit actually provides that grievous wounds for your team. I mean, you could press W, but yeah, that's it. There's no way to spread grievous wounds. So I think you shouldn't be the one taking grievous wounds if ever. And I don't even think you have to. Why do you even take? Oh, Swain. Never mind. If ever someone will get it in your team, it's probably someone who can constantly auto everyone a lot. So like Kaisa maybe.
Kaisa and
Kaisa.
Yorick.
Probably not Yorick. Probably Aurelia, maybe if you can. But
Mm.
I don't know. But definitely not you. You would be somewhere below the list, maybe fourth, fifth, even. Um, in that list of like people buying grievous ones. And also, the problem with like buying the wrong items with enchanters and supports in general is that you're spending gold on something that you don't need. And this will be a problem because you only ever have access to so little gold. A lot of the time, people think that it's the opposite. People think like, well, I only have so little gold, might as well spend whatever I can to get something. But it's the opposite. It's because you have so little gold that you have to make sure that you buy everything important. Because, for example, let's say, let's point out something here. Maybe okay. Here's a fun point. Maybe for example, I regret having Jack Show. Maybe I would instead have something like a Radiant Virtue here because I want to play for team fights. If I'm Orn, I can always farm side lanes, and at some point I could resell, Jack Show and buy the Radiant Virtue because I could afford to farm more. You know what I mean? But for you,
Uh,
if you mess up and buy a Putrefier here, you're you're just
Losing
losing
a lot of value,
you're losing a lot
basically.
of gold if you keep it in your inventory because it's not effective in the game, and if you sell it, you've effectively lost a lot of gold because you didn't utilize it the item, and you have to, and now you can't farm it. You can't farm it.
Mm.
So anyway, so we go back. So now we're setting up for dragon. So now let's talk about concepts, mid to late game concepts about how you're going to set up around objectives. So obviously the first step is to like gain vision. So Lux contest the vision. Okay, do your little thing here. Um, that Q was fine. You're trying to just create
Hindi ko
space.
nakita. Sorry, sorry.
Sorry, what
Go
were you
on.
saying? No, yeah, I'm done.
Here, hindi ko nakita ata si Rengar dito.
Yeah.
Nakatingin ako kay Kato.
So the problem is also tunnel vision. Yeah, you're tunneling a lot. Map awareness needs a lot of work. Okay. So yeah, this Q is bad. But also, the moment you saw Rengar, I could see it. This is the moment that you saw Rengar, where it's too late. Um, the moment you see it, you just kind of have to try to think quickly. What's the plan here? So now that you have a freeze frame, what would you have done here if you had all the time to think about? Like
Try
here,
to get away, flash away.
no,
Like,
specifically, like what's the sequence that you want to do?
what do you mean? Like, what I want to happen?
Yeah, like all the inputs that you will do. Whether you will use abilities, where you would click, spells, items, anything. What do you plan
I,
on doing?
I should probably just try to build Irelia.
What else? That's
Uh,
not the only thing that's gonna happen in the next few seconds. So you should, like, if you had all the
try
time to
to
plan what's happening. Yeah, go on. Just keep thinking.
shield Irelia. first of all, if Rengar jumps up, cancel it again with my R or my Q, then try to get to Irelia.
Or your Q is out.
Yun nga.
Yeah, it's on
R na lang.
cooldown. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then
And then get away and just wait for Irelia and wait for my team to arrive. If that was supposed to happen.
okay. And that's fine. Okay. That's fine that you're practicing how to think about that. I would say from this point I would start I thought differently. From this point I would start running towards my team because this is our stronger side. Irelia is on the weak side of things because there's only one person there, and I would start running towards here. The other reason why I want to run here is that if Ornn would want to TP, I would think that Ornn would like to TP Kai'Sa's side compared to Irelia's side. So I want to be on the strong side of this team fight, and I want like to run away through the speed shrine so that I could get to my retreat space faster. So that's how far I'm visualizing this. That if ever I do interrupt Rengar on the jump here, I want to run away as fast as I can, throw Elias if needed, heal if needed, and if they throw like a binding or something that would instantly kill me, I would flash. But I want to get to the safe zone as fast as possible, because then we could sort of like retake the dragon area after that, because I'm all in the clear. Um, that's what I would have done. I think it's a safer route, and it would the fights would play out much easier. Um, but again, it's all about training yourself to plan like that. You will get better at that, and you will get more clean with like how streamlined your thinking process would be in the future. But you have to start doing that. Like watch your own replays, record your own games, etc. Okay, but you die, and it's fine. Um, we can just learn from that. Move on. Let's see. Is there anything else that happens in this game? Oh, whoa. So wait, how do you guys win this game? Actually, it uh, seems very heavy towards the enemy team so far. In terms of like the game state. So I'm interested.
They just kept making mistakes.
Okay. Anyway, so you face check here, and you could have avoided this, obviously. Um, so I want you to tell me
How I could have avoided this.
more on why you shouldn't even be doing what you're doing right now.
I'm alone right now.
Well, you're not. You're with Orn.
Ah, because we don't need it right now.
What don't you need?
The vision in our red side camp.
Yeah. Yes, but also if you need that vision, you're not the first person to go in, especially when you're right next to Orn. If you had no choice, like if you're going in alone and you have to ward, yes, you can face check, and no one can blame you for that. But because you're already with Orn, just wait for him. You could ping the bush, you could queue the bush, you could do whatever. But also, if you even if you're planning to face check this on your own, at least prepare the queue so that if someone jumps on you, you could instantly like pop
React
the
to it.
queue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So either way, you've played this situation probably the worst way possible, which is literally running into it and getting one tap by the Rengar. Now, obviously, there's a multiple bazillion other plays to do here. Besides the one I already mentioned, you could just path the long way and ward topside because Baron is up. You could try to reset because you only have one ward. There's like everything else except for this play that like loses the game, pretty much. And as you can see, Orn gets into a bit of a situation here. I think everyone dies here. Oh, Lux missed everything. Okay, well, you know, but still, we're making a lot of mistakes. We're 5 deaths in on a pretty I guess I would say stable game. Honestly, like no one's really no one's really gunning down for you. It's just you're creating the opportunities for them to like rush you. Um, so yeah, a lot of this is just your int than it is their play. Okay. Okay. Let's talk mechanics for a bit. This is definitely not clean. Okay, first of all, let's talk play by play because there's a lot of things going on here. I want to talk about, and it's kind of cringe. But okay, I'll try not to cringe. First of all, when I see this in lane, but it's more important here more than ever. Okay, so here's the situation: you want to get this kill,
Yes.
and this Vayne has to run. There is no way that this Vayne tries to fight without any information where others are, especially when they just got kills bot. So there's no way that um like people are hovering right now. They'll probably be basing right now, if anything. So um okay, either Vayne thinks that they're basing or they're already on their way. In either case, Vayne can't stay long anymore. She might try to fight you for a little bit, but there's no way she can commit to a full thing if ever like you flash out or anything. So the problem then becomes, how do I make sure that that doesn't happen? How do I make sure that either Vayne can't kill me, Vayne can't run away, and we get this kill? It's like everything like that. So the difference is in lane, the bot lane has different states. Your wave could be near their tower, could be in the middle of the wave, and stuff like that. And most of what we've seen is that these two and never really like on your wave. Like you were never really freezing or anything like that. The wave was always pushing towards you, the enemy side. So this didn't apply earlier. This is applying now, but it's universal. This is something that you could apply anywhere else for as long as it fits the idea. So here, because we want to guarantee the kill and set up the kill, we want to land the Q. As you can see, it lands. Either you wait for the Q to land first, or if you know it's gonna land, then just walk up. It's auto. Press your shield, whatever. Actually, probably don't press your shield yet. Wait for the knock up here. So let's do this, right? And then here, don't W. Why? Because he's already slowed. He's stacking on the Q knock up, the frost zone. Wait, okay. So just do that. Wait for a couple of seconds. When the slow runs out, like
Then W.
yeah, and then you W, and then what's gonna happen is that your Q comes up after the slow runs out from W, and then you Q, and then you just kind of cycle the slow, and this you get perma slowed. It's perma slow Janna.
So
Um,
chaining it
yeah,
basically.
yeah, chaining your slows. So then every time she chooses a target because of how Vayne works, she has to proc silver bolts. You reserve the E for when the silver bolts happen. So let's see how this plays out in this regard. Okay, so here you haven't shielded anything. Here, your mouse should flick towards Ornn to make sure to shield the silver bolt's damage. Okay, so here's what it is, right? Let me see that in thing again. But also, now that he's out of the slow and you have your teammates following up with you, do not cast Q. That is the last thing you want to do, because for you to get max value off your Q, you have to knock her up again, similar to how you did the first time. How do you do that? You wait. Because again, remember what I said earlier in the champ select? What's the idea behind holding the Q?
Like, so we can go, we can disengage basically.
No. So the idea is that the threat of you having the Q is greater than the Q itself, right? Because like the tornado is good, but if the tornado doesn't land, it's not as threatening, isn't it?
Mhm.
So you threatening to land the tornado is way more scary for Vayne. Remember, Vayne is in a lot of pressure here. Psychology. You're a human being that's playing Vayne right now, and you're up against three people wanting to kill you. If you're put in a real life situation where three people are holding gunpoint at you, you would be so scared of your life. He would start to panic. So it's not on you. It's not on you to start throwing abilities. If you start firing bullets, you know how it is in like Filipino teleserye, right?
Mhm.
They start firing bullets first. Now, they like the policemen or whatever, they get all this confidence because like, well, now you wasted your bullets. I get to fire back. It's like it's weird. So when you're not forced to use your stuff, don't, and let them suffer mentally. Just wait until they make a mistake and then just cripple them in their fear and all this other stuff. And now look, he's forced to tumble. He has no idea what's happening, right? Like, why would he tumble in? Fear, hesitation, everything is all into play. So now what happens? Boom. We land a knock up. Yes, the Irelia stun hits, but when the knock up from Ornn lands, now you start channeling your Q. When Vayne lands, you pop the Q. Do you get what I mean? Like this
Mhm.
Vayne is never alive. And I know he's gonna die here regardless, but the way you played it out left room for some error. Imagine if we hit none of that. Imagine if we hit none of these things. Like none of Ornn and stuff hit and whatever. This could have gone super bad. Imagine if Vayne didn't tumble in and just actually kited you and played the fights with spacing. So a lot of things could have gone wrong here. Now, granted, there's probably no way Vayne survives. This probably could have maybe like 1-for-1. Um, but the thing is, we can't take chances. In solo queue, we just take whatever is guaranteed. And this was guaranteed, but we almost messed it up. So can't have that.
Yeah.
So you get everything so far with the mechanics. Look, he almost kills Ornn actually. Um, so anyway, um, it's just a little bit of this stuff all like is like the difference between like that one annoying Janna player that you face that feels like you can't play the game, and the other Janna player who just shields and does nothing. So that's what makes Janna OP in some cases. It's because you have shields as thick as the wall in top lane, or like just endless CC and slow and so much peel that it's so hard and frustrating to deal with. And so you have to utilize that a lot. Okay, so we got a good team fight here. I mean, that's basically free. Okay. Nothing much is happening. Okay, let's try to make... Okay, shove that. Mm-hmm. Alright. And you put some words. Okay, I won't talk about the same words. Don't worry. What? Where are we going? Why are we clicking down here? Yep. Oh, that's weird.
I didn't notice Irelia was
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. So the problem here is that not only does it not make sense for you to click down here because well you just want to be in the middle of everyone, but also your Aurelia's moving up. So if you want to be in in a place where you can have the most impact, it would be here or here. Basically, never in this area, right? I would say maybe even here because you want to be either watching the dragon and make sure that no one like comes in here to steal it, or make sure that Irelia doesn't int. Now, granted, if Irelia gets into a bad situation and dies anyway, like a pretty bad like Lux binding into whatever, then whatever, just leave him. But you should have been there. There's no way that you're this far in this fight. You could have been here right now or here, and you would have reached Irelia. We're just not looking. We're just not positioning ourselves. And maybe it doesn't change the whole thing. Don't get me wrong. Maybe it doesn't change the whole thing, but we can't afford to do stuff like this. We're playing so passive. Okay, what are we doing? Just get in there. Like, um, we like look at how you're clicking this fight. No one's on you. No one. You're full HP. Just walk up. Press W. Get in there. Press E on this Yorick right away. Get or like something. Just commit to something. You can't be clicking like this. What are you scared of? You're scared. You're scared that this Rengar might go to you. It's fine. You have everything up. Like we can't click back because if we click backwards, you're not creating space. You see? Like look, now all the attention's on your carries. You have to distract them. You have to do something. Your abilities are up, use them. You can't be running like this. Look, we've switched like directions so many times. We went down, we went up here. Like just commit to one thing. And because we didn't choose anything, we didn't get to save anyone. We
Yeah.
just we look now Kaisa flashed and like oh no. Yeah, it's so bad. So it's everything has to be instant. Like here. Like when wait, where is it? Sorry. Everything has to be instant. Like the moment that you connect with Kaisa, oh, it takes a while. Maybe not. But like everything has to be. For example, like I would have wanted to have. I thought there was an angle. I would have wanted to have that you would have shielded her first before she gets in here, and then you just dip. But yeah, after this is fine. I thought there was a. I thought there was a. No, I was too far. Okay, my bad. But yeah. But you see what I mean with this part, right? Like when we're clicking back. Look, right? That's so weird. That's so weird that we're just like running back when we're full HP, full sums, full with ult and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also dito, I don't know who I should be with right
You just
now.
have to commit to once. To
Yeah.
one side. I mean the easiest way to determine this is like you can pause for a moment and look at where strong side is. So here when the map plays out like this and everything's happening on top, there's 4 people top right now. Just play for them. Because if you swing this fight into your favor, you get out of this fight in the top side, right? This is the split. You get 2 people that are pretty healthy, and then they can turn towards this Lux, right? Whereas if you help Kaisa, then that means if you have one guy that's healthy that's trying to help this fight, but that's way fewer numbers. So you always want to have strong side first of the team fight.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like this feels like a lot of the the emotional thing that we talked about earlier because you're just panicking. You're just tossed up between like your emotions and stuff. Okay, it's fine. So now we go here. Mm, wait, why did we recall there? Huh? What? Wait, why are we recalling?
Maybe I should have guarded Baron first.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I don't even understand why you recalled. Like, what did you get? What?
I sold
There's no way. There is no way. What? We did nothing. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna hurl. Oh, what is this VOD that you made me watch? Oh my god. We actually just recalled for fun. We did look at we recalled just full HP, full mana, full inventory, full wards. Oh wow. Nice. And we did nothing. Great. I love it. Love it. So anyway, you should have warded obviously, and you should have done something more proactive. Let's see if there's anything you missed with recalling. Actually, that would have been more funny. Nothing. Damn. Okay, so nothing was missed, but also, there like you didn't miss anything bad, but you missed the opportunity to be something good, which is warding and stuff. Okay. Um. All right. I didn't like the ult there. Uh, but I guess. Oh man. I mean, it's not
I
that
didn't
bad.
expect
It's not that bad because it interrupted Vayne for a
I
bit.
didn't expect Araya to dash first. I was supposed to just heal her.
No, because he landed the thing. But it interrupted Vayne for a bit. Like he got bumped into the wall for a bit. I can see that. But like it's so low value for such a big ult. Like for example, I don't even think I need to monsoon here at all. Actually, like just hold it. Hold it because okay. So here's my idea. Um, I've seen this like play out a lot of times, and so my idea is that you don't ult here unless you have your Q backup. And the reason is because you can only interrupt abilities or like fights in 2 ways, either your Q or your ult. If you use both, you create a small window for them to abuse your backline or whoever your carry when there's no way for Janna to interrupt. You get that?
Yes.
So for example, if we just hold ult right now and we wait, ba-ba-ba-ba-bam. Okay, I ult. This is a better spot. That's a better spot.
Yeah.
It's a better AOE. You would create space for Elia. Yeah. And you would still have your other interrupt spell. Alternatively, you could have just queued there, obviously. Um. Oh, preemptively casting the Q is weird, but it's fine. All good. I mean, just trying to avoid Oh, I say it's fine, then something happened. Hold on. Wait. What? What? Wait. Whoa. I don't know. What's the thought process here? Why are you going like that?
Against go with ADK.
Why'd you even go mid? It's just a free. I mean, again, this is the idea of like going towards strong side, I guess. I mean, I guess you saw the pings. You saw the pings, and that maybe that got you into thinking that okay, I should help my Kaisa. But Kaisa can shove that. He has Invis and ult and exhaust. He can. He's fine. He's fine there. But you need to be playing towards your team right now. You just can't like it's Kaisa's fault that he went for this wave. If ever he dies that, despite having all the stuff up, exhaust and everything, it's his fault. But like he should never be playing away from the team. Never. An ADC, a good ADC, always plays around the team. It's never the other way around. Because the idea is that for Kaisa to be strong in this game, he needs to have the space to be strong. And these allies are the ones who can create that space. But he can't create that space if he's not playing with them. It's a mutual thing. So you shouldn't be here. So now it's all risky. I mean, does Rengar get anything more here? I don't think so. Ornn can just knock him up. Probably not.
I
Yep.
got Zanya's speech.
You got what?
Stopwatch.
Stopwatch. Uh
Because I kept dying to the Rengar. So I thought, oh, why don't I get stopwatch? But now that I think about it,
okay, the problem with this is that the game is gonna end in like the next 5 minutes or so. And if you have to invest 3,000 gold just to not die to Rengar, I would just rethink how I play the game. Because there's multiple ways to position and use your abilities to interrupt Rengar from killing you that you don't need all these things. And even then, it's like we're not relying on getting kills to get that amount of gold out of nowhere. How are you supposed to get 3k gold in the next 5 minutes? I don't know. In fact, the game might end earlier than that, but it's uncertain. So I would think that I would go for much cheaper items. Now, yeah, you probably bought the Wardstone because, but see, that doesn't make any sense. I guess I think I wouldn't need the extra ward because like the extra ward doesn't mean anything here. I want to if I really want to buy Zonya's, well, in case that you do want to buy Zonya's, if I want to buy Zonya's, I would just not waste any gold onto the Wardstone. If I don't, if I planned on selling the stopwatch anyway, still, that gold could have gone into that other support item that I was going to build instead of Wardstone. In general, I think you bought Wardstone too early when there's something else you can build. Wardstone is an item that you only build for when you absolutely have no choice. You cannot move anything in your inventory, and that's the only thing you can buy. Like not even elixir, like just nothing. You have everything already. 6 items, elixir, everything. Then you buy Wardstone. That's the last thing you want to buy. So now we wasted gold. Um okay, but now we have to play for a stopwatch. It doesn't make sense that we buy the stopwatch, but we don't even like try to play around it. Let's see. Um okay, let's watch this team fight from a mechanical standpoint. Uh okay. Land the Q, get the EN. Alright. Get another Q going. Boom. Get another EN. Okay. Pretty good so far. I. Okay. Oh my. Whoa. Whoa, no. Oh no. Okay. So okay, the first thing I noticed is that number one is that here you should be playing a bit more forward. Like just show yourself. The presence is more important than you just throwing out spells. Now I know you're like trying to throw Qs from behind fog, right? But like after you set the Q up, there's no reason to hide anymore. You have everything. You have E, you have ult, you have stopwatch, you have heal. Create the space for your team. It just can't be like this. You just can't be having your Ornn just focus for free. Now obviously don't get caught, but at least like like peek a little bit, show them a little bit of your skin, and then make sure that you reel them in, and then when it's too late, then you throw them off guard with something. And see, the thing is, our camera control is also poor in this fight, because when we see Kaisa ult, we can barely see what's happening on Kaisa's perspective. We need to watch that, because we need to know whether you, in this case, need to walk up and take the Swain damage in order to help Kaisa kill someone. Because if Kaisa kills someone and gets out, it's infinitely more valuable than you living. Kaisa's the star here, of this like side of the fight. We didn't help him. There was no heal. There was no Q that went towards Kaisa. We didn't help him. So now we left our team to die. Now there is flashing on us because we're now down 5v3. At this point, I want you to bail, right? Like, I don't want you to stick out any more of your skin. When it was 5v5, I want you to go, because if they make a single mistake and they use some stuff on you, let's say Rengar slows you or whatever, and like they make a mistake, it's different. But when fight starts to go south like this and you didn't even help Kaisa, I'm bailing. I'm queuing, I'm Eing, and I'm out. There's no way I would lose more here. That's the mindset. So when you went into this bush, that's perfect. But when you went out, that's bad. Why are we doing this? There's no way Irelia one-shots everyone. It's not possible. It's not possible. So we're just in here trying to do something. Now, I would think that in the event that Irelia does clean up, look at this. There's a difference in what I'm trying to say, right? So in the event that Irelia does clean up, I should just be waiting here or here. You know, like I should just be fishing for stuff, but I can't show, because if I show here, there is no way that I can create space anymore. So I just let them fight here. Okay. You see this? Now, Katarina doesn't need to turn on you. This is her fault. She should be focusing here to get resets. Because she's changing targets. No one's targeting you, so she can't get a reset. So she's taking the fight slow. But see, now, like, for example, if you were still alive, hypothetical, right? Now that, like, everyone else has been cleaned up, like this, right? So say in this moment where Vayne gets killed, and then he's jumping on Swain, now I would show myself. Because here, I can now make the space that I want. Because Irelia is on a 1v1. And so if I survive the 1v2, well, again, we don't know if that's going to be the case later on, right? But if you show up now and they turn on you, if Irelia gets isolated in the 1v1, right? Let's say, for example, like Rengar flashes on you or like jumps on you and Katarina jumps on you, this dynamic changes because now Irelia actually wants the space. Earlier on, you didn't need to. You went in too early. And yeah, and now I just lost. I don't think it would change the whole fight. Again, if I'm just playing out scenarios in which you could help, in which you would bail out, but here I would instantly just bail out.
So when the fight starts to go bad, I shouldn't be showing up. And if I do get like turned on, I should isolate them from Irelia.
So when the fight starts to go bad, you have two options. It's either you run, okay, or if you really want to turn, then either you wait for a better opportunity because you don't want to get one shot. There's two assassins on their team. You don't want to get one shot, or yeah, you wait and then you fight after. Fight after. These are the only options. Now, whether or not that you can perceive which one is winning or not between the two of these, is depending on the game, and that's will take a lot of experience. But generally speaking, running is the safer play here, because it's much the odds of you winning a fight when you're down teammates are close to about 30% max, right? And this can change in some ways. For example, like yes, Irelia is a bit more fed compared to Swain, compared to Vayne. Yeah, sure. But there's not enough factors that can swing this into making this higher than 70%. And so
Mhm.
if the number is this low, or maybe you can be generous by making it 50%, if the numbers are this low, why are we deciding the game off this? Makes no sense, right? So
Yes.
in most cases, running saves the game. Whereas here, if maybe we all die here, they get inhib in mid. Incredibly um which
Big
is
loss.
yeah, like it's two different things. Um and of course the fighting part has different odds depending on what's happening, but yeah. Running odds usually are better in like a disadvantage like this. Anyway, let's see how the game goes on. Okay, so we face oh no, it's not a face shot. It's just Rengar ulting. Did we interrupt? Maybe? Yeah, but it's in the bush. The Q wasn't fast enough. I don't think they could you have prevented this in some way? I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
There's not much you could do. Either way, this wasn't such an impactful death. It's whatever. You guys get triple kills. Do you end the game? Wait, you have Yorick ult.
No, no, no. It's not.
Oh, it's not. Oh, it's close though. Hmm. Okay, what's happening here? This is something relevant. Um. Oh no, what are we doing again? Our camera control. Look at our camera. We're looking at nothing. I mean, I know you're keeping an eye on Relia, but you can you can view this from an area where you could see further more of Katarina, because you saw Katarina first. Yeah, you saw Katarina
Yes.
first, and then you saw them next. So you need to keep an eye on Katarina, and then the Irelia. But Irelia is fine. Irelia is designed to fight alone, but you can't. So I would prioritize you first in this case. So my camera here should be about like this, like clipping Swain, so I can kind of tell what's happening, but I want to see like what's happening here and like where Katarina's looking at. If she's looking at me, I'm running away and like doing this curve. But we didn't see that. So it just happens. And we wasted everything now. And we're just out of the fight. We can't even help anymore. I don't think we can even help. I mean, we could try to throw Qs here and there and maybe shield Kaisa, but that's about it. Yeah, we can't be as involved in the fight as you can see. We can't. There's no
Oh.
utility anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nag-cut off ka for a second.
Oh really? Okay. But now it's good, right? Right? It's good now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um. But okay, so that happens. What else?
Nagka-cut off ka pa rin. Hindi.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes, yes.
How does that happen?
Wala na, wala.
Okay. So what happened here? Oh, Rengar got caught. Ooh, that's bad. That's bad for them. All right.
Uh,
Um.
Medyo robotic ka pa rin with Ned.
Wait, what? Are you sure it's me?
Yes, it's you. The stream is like lagging.
Wait, what? Wait.
Okay na ata. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, um, how is this game still going? Uh, oh, it's a fight. It's a fight. It's a fight. Okay, I skipped too much. Okay, so now we're trying to siege. I guess I'm not sure why we're doing this. Okay, decent Q. Oh, we're not looking at the fight again. Uh oh, what's happening? Oh, Yorick got chunked already. Okay. Yeah, your camera control needs a lot of work.
Mhm.
Mm, good old, good old. I would say good old. Although maybe could you have waited that out? No, never mind. Okay, okay. What's happening now? There's a lot of things happening in this fight. Holy Katarina moments. Um, wow, this fight is rough. Oh my god. Oh, don't do that. Again, you're throwing out your cues way too much. Sometimes it's better to hold them. You need to start holding your cues more.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm assuming everyone lives here. There's no way. Yep. Nice. Good job. Good job. Yeah, landing the cue there. Ooh. Okay. Okay, now we have the Zanyas. I mean, the fights shouldn't be this weird, but like also, we got Zanya so late, we didn't even have it on a fight or anything. I mean, now we're gonna have it, right?
I had it nung Katarina hinted here
Yeah, yeah,
sa
yeah,
mid.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just trying to see like, okay, yeah. Now we're gonna have it for this next one, but it's definitely, it definitely took so long to get, compared to other
Yeah,
items. Mm-hmm.
so I should have just gotten redemption probably.
Probably, yeah. Maybe if you really need the stopwatch for that next fight, you could have kept the stopwatch but not committed to Zanya's.
I face checked here, kinda died.
Mm,
Got a bit greedy for the ward.
yeah, you also know someone's there. Yeah, it wasn't even that you didn't know. It's just you forced it. Yeah, that's a pink ward incident. I don't think I need to say anything about this. You already know that.
Yep.
This game is this game is interesting. And then you just won the game. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So a brief recap on the stuff that we talked about. And I say brief because we already dragged on so long. Um, Plan ahead in the champion select, your early levels, your game plan in lane, what your plan is to succeed as a bot lane, right? Um, let's talk about um like here trading on the timing of your cooldown. So trading ideas, uh, and then tracking the enemy jungler, through fog and through pressing tab, like counting CS, using information as much as we can. Um, Okay, active warding at the same time thinking about where we're warding given the game state. Um, Also, yeah, ability usage, making sure that we can use our Qs properly, layering our slows later on. I mentioned it. Um,
Oh wait, quick question now.
yeah.
Like so basically passive warding is like the default warding. Like ganun ba yun?
No, the default warding is like warding in bushes and like
Mhm.
common spots. Active warding is when you're adapting your wards based on where the game parang kung saan siya mas kailangan right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Ano pa ba? Itemization, like for example, getting merc threads, using futures market properly to get spikes. Um,
I have
what?
this like mindset kasi na enchanters don't go defensive boots.
That's most of the time true, but you have to learn the instances where you do get it,
Okay.
which is applicable in this case. It's always League of Legends is never a black and white thing. It's never like, oh, this never happens. This always happens. I mean, you at most you could say like in most games this will be the case. But you have to be smart enough, especially when you're maining champions, smart enough to figure out when should you take these small like nuances like Merc Threads, Steel Caps on Janna or whatever like that, or any other champion instead of just whatever is usually bought. Um, So here, just using time properly, recalling instead of doing nothing. Um, what else? Here, body language. So we also talk about this. Pretty important stuff. Uh, Here we talked about the whole like trying to be the shepherd yourself and don't be sheep by
Mhm.
leading your team instead of making your team carry you in terms of like how you're supposed to make the hierarchy of your decisions. Um, and then here we talked about how again it's similar to like time things and body language. A lot of map awareness tidbits, just such as here, uh, um, and camera control, positioning as well on some fights. Um, Again, itemization on when to get grievous wounds. Oftentimes, enchanters don't get grievous wounds anymore.
Mhm.
Um, and then what else? Mechanics on like guaranteeing kills, especially when it's not decided right away. Like for example, if you had like a Skarner ult, yeah, I mean this guy's dead no matter what. But if it's not so clear whether you could land skill shots and kill someone, you can try to guarantee it and get as much percentage to get the kill. Um then we could have ideas like what else? Here, just positioning again. Mm-hmm. Ideas of like face checking as well. Uh, whether it's necessary, how you should play face checks with your abilities to check for vision. Again, recalling without any thought, I think is bad. I think you should always have a purpose when you're recalling, and if not, you should always do something proactive. That's what we talked about. Yeah, and on like team fights or like rotations, always play on the strong side because you want to support as many people as you can. Um, okay. By the way, this is this is something I have to address actually. Wait.
Mhm.
I forgot to say this. In the event, in this case, for example, if we swap these champions with something like Lucian Nami, or like any combo that relies each other to have like a mutual benefit, yes, I would agree that you have to go with them. But it's Kaisa Janna. Kaisa can be on her own. It's not like Janna would change entirely what would happen here. It's not like Kaisa would change what would happen entirely if you went with Janna. Like there's no like insane dynamic that you guys have that would change outcomes if you guys are together compared to when you guys are isolated.
There's
But
like no clear synergy, basically.
yeah. Um, I mean, I wouldn't put synergy as a term, but obviously, like Janna has some synergy with Kaisa because Janna likes hyper carries, and you would like to protect hyper carries. But the thing is, there's no difference in like 1v2s or 1v1s if Kaisa's alone compared to like if Lucian's alone in a Lucian Nami game, right? So there's that. Or like other examples that are common here are like Kog'Maw Lulu, uh,
8 lux.
Zeri, Lulu, Kate Lux, yeah. Like those champions kind of like they're kind of uh they're meant to be together with
Yeah,
in
yeah,
most
gets
cases.
to them.
Yeah. Okay. So everything else here complicated late game fights like this where you have to decide whether to run or to fight or wait out and fight. I mean, but most often running is the good case because you're down 3v5. Um what else? What else? Um, is there anything else that I missed? There's something I said here. Oh yeah, I mean this map awareness again. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is there anything else? That was good.
So for cam control, basically,
Mm-hmm.
I should have it in like a position where I can basically see everything that's going
You
in the
see, you want
fights.
to see everything that you need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't see everything. That's the limitation of like the game's camera. But you can prioritize which you have to see first before anything else. And you could always like change the camera every now and then. But you need to your camera needs to be more snappy. And it should like, well, that's just how I say it. Like it should snap, like literally. It should like snap to places. Like if I want to see what's happening down here, snap right there real quick. And I press spacebar to reset my camera. I snap it up like this, like from like snap here, press spacebar to reset, snap up here, check. Like if you want to like see like wide fights, or like say for example here you were playing a fight over here, right? And there was like a fight here for Kaisa, there was a fight here for Yorick. If you want to see both fights, you could maybe move in one area. Okay, let's say you're moving towards here, right? You stop here, or maybe in here, you flick your camera over here, you see like this. Okay, I saw what happened. Spacebar to reset. I move here, I can see this now. Spacebar to reset, and like it goes on forever, right? But it should be more fluid, because your camera feels so stuck in some of these fights. Like there's this one fight where here it feels so stuck. It's not moving. Look, there's already something happening down there. Look, you know how like slow it's moving, and like I see it now. It took like a lot of movement to get there, but it should be faster. If it would help, maybe increase your mouse speed, or like your camera pan speed, or anything that increase like the way you influence your camera panning, whatever. It Yeah. Tapos adjust na lang whenever necessary. Maybe you feel too uncomfortable, whatever, but try something. At least try something so you could move around, because especially in games like this where everyone's like super mobile, like Katarina and Kaisa and Aurelia, there's like 50 million dashes going on. You need to see everything, or else you'll never watch the fight. You'll never be where you need to be when you need to be shielding them. So there's that. And then is there like another thing here before the game ends? Nope, the game just ends. Okay, so any questions after all that?
Wala naman.
Okay, so I'll try to get this into YouTube quickly. I might edit a few parts because there's a bunch of hiccups from the stream, but either way, like I always say to my students, I again, this is not a one-time thing. I mean, we interact on the daily. I mean, you're literally my mod, and we literally see each other on Discord pretty much every day at this point. But um I just want to re-emphasize that now that we've had a coaching session together, we've established sort of like a link where it's not like a one and done. Like, okay, I don't care about you after this. You know, I can come out of the session and be like, okay, Ren, how are you doing? How's your climb? Or maybe I don't have time to do that because I'm a busy person. But I'd be glad if you could update me with your climb, or I mean, you already do that, or maybe you could have some small questions that you could ask me. I will be willing to answer those for as long as I can. And yeah, I mean, the learning never ends. And so, but for the most part, everything that I've said to you in this VOD applies long term. I'm pretty sure you can start practicing this from now on, and like a year from now, you're probably still practicing it, and just refining and starting to master each of the things I've said.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for me. And just one final note for your champion pool. Stick to your best champions. Don't try different champions. Don't be one of those people who feel like, wow, I like drafting here. We need a front line, and here we need a mage. Like, don't be like that guy. Like,
Do
just
your comfort picks.
yeah, just like look at this. Play Yumi, it's free win. Play Janna, play Lux. Just stick to these three champions. Don't ever play anything else. Win games, and you'll probably hit D1 master in like a month, as I'm saying. All right, so anyways, thank you so much. I had so much fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, hope you learned a lot.
Yes, I did. I actually took a few notes down actually.
Nope, you'll use that. I used to take down notes a lot from past, like when I was like VOD reviewing stuff. So yeah. All right,
Mm.
I'll see ya.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye bye.